Warning, the following podcast contains spoilers. So if you don't want to know that Mikel Suave is the killer and he's also a crossdresser, stop listening now. Although in his defense, he didn't start killing until he found out that Bob was going to play his childhood self in the movie within the movie.
The International House of Horror.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the International House of Horror podcast, a low-budget podcast for low-budget horror movies. I'm your host, Rocco, aka the Mad Pancaker, and across from me is none other than my co-host, Scary Perry.
Hello there.
How you doing over there, Scary Perry?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Doing a little bit better. I was in the hospital for a bit. I think Delores whacked me over the head with a frying pan, and I was out of it for a little bit. But don't worry, I'm doing okay now, so that's why we've been on a little bit of a hiatus. Apologies for the break in content, but hopefully get back more on a regular schedule now, so bear with us because of all the delays. Are you ready to dive into this week's hotcakes?
Just glad you're better, man. And Delores, she's a bitch.
Yeah, she sure is.
I want to find her if she ever comes around.
Right. And feel free to support us on Patreon if you're able to. Depending on the tier you get at, you can even pick a movie for us to review. So, and you can follow us on all the social medias. I'm the Mad Pancaker everywhere. And I'll go over this at the end too, so you don't forget Perry's at Scary Perry, but figured I'd throw that out since it's been a while. And before we dive into hotcakes, got a few obituaries to go through, unfortunately. Aldo Lotto, so I believe I mentioned him on the podcast before. Italian horror director, he passed away between our recordings here. I think he might have did The House on the Edge of the Park? I could be mistaken. Maybe he did that other, it might be the Train movie, the Italian, because there's a couple different Italian Last House on the Left ripoffs. The Train one has a couple different names. I can't remember if he did that one or if he did House on the Edge of the Park.
Last Stop on the Night Train he did? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that movie has a million different names. When I watched it, it had a different name.
Okay.
But yeah, that is the movie. So it wasn't The House on the Edge of the Park. That's a different movie. It has that same vibe as The Last House on the Left. He's done a bunch of stuff.
88. Rest in peace.
Up next, starting a lot of stuff. Tisa Farrow, probably most famously for horror fans. I mean, she's actually done a lot of stuff. She's been in a few things here and there all over the place. For mainstream horror fans, probably most famously remember her from Lucio Fulci's Zombie. Sad that she passed away. Then we have Annie Breland. I put in parentheses Belle because I think sometimes she is credited as Belle. I forget what the heck she was in, though, and what she was. When I saw it, though, I'm like, oh, man. Once I saw that, I'm like, oh, man.
She was an Italian actress? Or French, excuse me.
French
actress.
What was she in?
Let me see here.
Because I forgot to write down what she was in.
The House on the Edge of the Park.
Hey, there we go.
There you go.
I was just I was a movie behind.
Yeah.
Up next, so Carl Weathers passed away, and I mainly put him on here for Predator. I know Predator is probably more considered a sci-fi movie, but it is very much set up like a slasher film, just with a alien that has laser-mounted cannon, you know.
Yeah.
But it does have a stalk and slash feel to it, so I put that on here. Can't think of anything else he would have done that's horror related, unless way beginning in his career, where he might have
Apollo Creed.
Yeah.
No, but yeah. Rest in peace.
Bill Cohn, he played Tony from Phantasm. I don't think, because I forget the name of Michael's older brother. I forget his name. I don't think it was the actor that played that guy. I think. Don't quote me on that. I made sure to write that down. I didn't do much research into it.
Oh, Tommy. Yeah, but
so
they don't have a lot of it.
Tommy's the brother?
No, that was his name in Phantasm.
Bill Cohn?
Yeah.
Oh, well then, whoever put that up on X/Twitter.
Unless it's wrong.
They could have been wrong on X/Twitter. They might have typed in Tommy and it autocorrected to Tony, and then you hit post. And if you don't have the check mark, you can't edit your tweets or zeets or whatever the heck they call them now. Crossings.
Oh, you crossings.
The crossings. I want that trend, darn it. It should be called crossings because X, it's like the railroad crossing sign.
Yeah.
Xing.
Hashtag crossing.
could have just been an autocorrect, but Tommy from Phantasm, that's who he played.
Yeah. And
is that the older brother? I can't remember.
He was a very good musician. He was a key collaborator on the Phantasm soundtrack.
And then last for obituaries, we got M. Emmett Walsh. Famous character actor. He's been in a lot of stuff. I know he's been in a few horror things. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. The only thing it just always pops in my mind when I think of him in horror stuff is the episode of Tales from the Crypt he did.
Yeah, I know he's in a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah, big character actor, but figured it was worth mentioning because I know he's done bit roles in a ton of things. Like, if you Google him, you could probably figure out some horror stuff he is in, but I always remember him from that episode of Tales from the Crypt.
Oh, he's in Critters.
There you go, Critters.
Yeah.
Yes, I knew he was in some horror stuff. So that's it for obituary. So dive into hotcakes. So for first-time listeners, hotcakes is our catch-all segment where we talk about recent things we've been watching, horror-wise, and any memorabilia we've picked up or movies and mainstream horror news that is worth talking about. And unfortunately, I call this the Great Hot Cake Super Dump because, fortunately, I've had a lot of stuff pile up from a lot of sales over Black Friday and everything. So I figure I'll let you go first, Scary Perry, since I don't think you have too many things to try up, and then I'll try to rapid fire through some of this stuff.
Well, I recently just saw on, not Tubi, it's on Tubi, but it's also on the
Peacock for those not in on the joke.
Yeah, I saw Magic with
Okay.
Anthony Hopkins.
Yep. It's been on my watch later for a while.
It's a
and Burgess Meredith.
Yes, psychological horror movie. It's a very good movie, but as far as horror wise, it takes a while to get going, and when it gets going, it's not like that extreme.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more psychological.
Yeah, that's kind of what I got from the vibes from it.
But
not having seen it, but just from what I know.
But it was excellent, like acting, like by Anthony Hopkins, and then he learned to do ventriloquism, so he did a real good job with that. And then Burgess Meredith was awesome in it. It was directed by Richard Attenborough, the Jurassic Park guy. That's how I know.
Mr. Hammond?
Yeah. Is he a doctor? I don't know.
Is that the...
Yeah, he directed it. Yeah, same guy. He directed a movie.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's based on a novel, the same name. I'd like to maybe check out the novel, see the differences. But yeah, it's a good movie. More in the psychological realm, but I'd give it a 3.5 cannolis out of 5.
All right. You got any other hotcakes?
I don't now. If I think of something, I'll let you know.
Let me dive in. So I'm going to save pickups for last just because so I can rapid fire through those. So first off, we'll start talking about a video game I played recently called Killer Frequency. Scary Perry even watched me play a little bit of it. You're a disc jockey, kind of new to town, and you're in your radio studio, and people are calling into you because there's a slasher on the loose, and you have to try and help them, or not help them if you want to get them killed, escape their predicament. So it's kind of like an escape room game because you're trying to use the clues around you and the environment, and sometimes you have to go down to the basement, get some archival stuff and find some stuff like that to help you figure out what to do with them, But it was pretty fun. I liked it. I think Scary Perry was...
Yeah, it was really interesting.
Especially since it's different, since it's all mostly radio recordings and everything. And it's very escape roomy.
Yeah, it is, definitely.
Trying to
find clues.
Solve puzzles, yeah. So
I liked it, though.
Plus, it's a little bit of a different spin rather than, your normal game would just be you're trying to run away from the killer or you're the killer trying to kill people. This is like an abstract idea that was really neat, really well executed, so...
Did you beat it?
I did.
Cool. No spoilers.
Let's get some gifts out of the way since holiday and birthday. So J-Bones got me this Friday the 13th NECA figure of Jason Voorhees I think it's from the remake, actually, which I don't actually hate the remake too much. Yeah, pretty cool looking. I mean, NECA usually puts out some cool looking figures.
Yeah, they do.
Although, don't open them and try to pose them, from what I've heard. I've heard sometimes the quality on that can be suspect. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like limbs fall off, but my brother was telling me about it. It's hit or miss, so it just depends.
They do good art.
So he also got me a horror shirt. I don't have it down here with me to show you, but this is a present that I'm wearing. This shirt with the snippets, close-ups on the eyes of the mask of the 3 masks from Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. So my brother and his wife got that for me. So sister-in-law, yeah, thanks, guys.
It's really cool looking. Yeah.
They got me some other shirts too, I'm sure. But this one I'm wearing right now, so I figured I'd mention it. And then some cool guy across from me got me a CD of Goblin, the Ultimate Collection, which has a bunch of the works of Goblin from movies, including Dario Argento movies, which is the disc 1, and then disc 2 is their stuff from other movies and TV shows, including Dawn of the Dead, The Church. We talk about that soon. Yeah, pretty cool. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Oh, I do have 2 little figures that my brother and his wife got me from these like little Ghostbuster mini packs. I don't know who. Is this a Funko?
I don't know.
It just says Hasbro.
I don't think so.
They must be, Hasbro. But, you know, those little blind packs, kind of like how the Funko used to make those little blind packs. I don't know if they still do. Got a Slimer here, and then...
they kind of look like chibi babies.
Yeah, they're like really cartoony, and then I got a little Stay Puft Marshmallow guy. So I think it's supposed to be more of like the miniature ones than the actual big Stay Puft Marshmallows. So I got those. Those are pretty cool.
Yeah, those are neat.
All right, time to dive into the pickups. So first off, fortunately, went through 2 different Severance sales. They're halfway to Black Friday sale. Now you have to. Now there's a lot of pre-orders for that, so you have to wait for the stuff to pre-order. So it didn't come till like November-ish, I think. I can't remember the exact date I got them. And then they had their actual Black Friday sale, so then that stuff came in. That stuff was actually pretty quick. That was more. I mean, it was still pre-order, but they, because Black Friday, they want to try and get that stuff out. It still came after Christmas, but
before Christmas, yeah.
So first off, we'll start off with very famous shock movie here, Anthropophagus. This movie is very famous for being a gross-out horror film from Joe D'Amato. George Eastman is a cannibal who stalks and kills people stranded on an island. It could be pretty suspenseful at times. The suspense is pretty good with some good cinematography, but it needed more because it's too slow at times, even by Italian standards. It is made up for by the last 15 minutes in a gory spectacle, which they kind of spoil a little bit on the cover here as he's eating his own intestines.
Oh, boy.
Spoiler. Overall, I gave that one 3 pancakes. Like, talk about it down the line. I know some of our fans have told us to review that, so I don't know. I'll pass it to you, so you could stack them up for me, buddy. Next up is a film from Sergio Martino, so giallo called All the Colors of the Dark, most famously starring George Hilton, Edwidge Fenech, however you pronounce her name.
Be me.
There's somebody on X I follow that always does Fenech Friday. Hashtag Fenech Friday, which is very cool, and then posts like a sexy image of her. And then Susan Scott, which if I remember correctly is Nieves Navarro. I've heard that first name pronounced weirdly too, so that's not how I pronounced it compared to how I heard somebody recently pronounce it, but I'm like, what the heck. So in it, Edwidge Fenech is tormented by her miscarriage and the memory of her mother's murder. She is stalked by her killer and seeks medical and cult help, but is she just mad? It's an excellent psychological giallo with great visuals, music, and use of color. Oh, Ivan Razumov, a famous, I don't know if he's Italian himself, but he stars in a lot of these giallos. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's a little weird, though, because so in most giallo center around a murder mystery, of course. This is one of those weird ones that it's not really a murder mystery. I mean, there's some mystery as to like why her mother died, but you could see the face of the stalker most of the time. So there's this underlying plot going on that you're just like, what's going on here? And Bruno Nicolai did the music, the score. Famous Italian composer, does a lot of scores for a lot of giallos. Overall, I gave it a 4 pancakes. It's very entertaining, psychological thriller there. So
yeah, the cover art looks cool.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. It's like, because I sometimes question these ones without murder mystery. I'm like, all right, it has the style of the Italian giallo, but I mean, so do a lot of other Italian horror movies. Like, they kind of have their own style, but you kind of have to call it a giallo considering, I think does that actually have the documentary on it? Yes, or no. No, one of these I picked up actually has on one of the bonus CDs the documentary All the Colors of Giallo. And well, if you're going to name your documentary about giallos, All the Colors of Giallo, I think All the Colors of the Dark, which you named it after, has to be considered giallo then,
Yeah.
Let's see what's up next in the stack. So we have another giallo, this time from Lucio Fulci. Who stars in this? Oh, Evelyn Stewart's in it. Okay, she's been in a lot of stuff. Fabio Frizzi, along with some other people, did the score for it. We have The Psychic, which I talked about before under the name The Seven Notes in Black. I did talk about this one again. I do have to rewatch this one now that I have it on in this nice little bundle. It comes with a little booklet too and this cool, nice looking slip. They made a little music box with The Seven Notes in Black, so hold it up to the microphone so you guys can hear it here. pretty cool neat little item. That was separate though. It didn't come in a bundle. I was kind of bummed that they didn't bundle it with it.
Oh, yeah, they should have bundled it. That thing's really neat.
It was pretty cool.
This is good packaging too for them.
Yeah. Plus the music box has the logo on the front with the weird skull with the woman hanging out of it. And on the other side it says The Psychic, directed by Lucio Fulci. I mean, I had to get the music box once I'm like, oh, great. Another thing I gotta buy.
I mean, that's catchy, so.
I think I gave it a 3 last time I talked about it, but I needed to rewatch it because I remember I was tired of it when I'm watching it. I think I watched it in another one of those. I watched it in 2 parts. And I'm like, I'm too tired. I'm going to bed. I'll save the other half for later and then try to remember what happened the next day. So there was that.
We reassess stuff.
Up next, the last horror film, which stars Joe Spinell, who I've talked about before, Caroline Munro.
Monroe Mondays.
Directed by David Winters. So now it comes in this cool different slipcover that says Maniac 2 Love to Kill on it. I think Love to Kill was an alternate title that was like a working title. I don't think it was ever called Maniac 2. I think somebody just did this because this came out after Maniac. Both of these movies star Joe Spinell and Caroline Munro, so...
But it has nothing to do with Maniac?
No, it's a completely different story, different characters. Joe Spinell is obsessed with a famous actress, played by Caroline Munro, and stalks her at Cannes Film Festival to have her star in his horror movie, as those around her are brutally murdered. I knew I had to get this because I've loved this film. This film is a blast with a show-stealing performance by Spinell, with great psychological elements, decent gore, TNA, and great twist. I also put down that it was meta before it was cool. A little bit of a meta slasher film. Like I said, I love this film. I gave it 5 pancakes. Not with syrup. It does have its faults. Plus, it's like, well, can I say this is as great as this film or that film that's 5 pancakes covered in syrup? Probably not, but I just really like the film and have a good time with it. Oh, and I got pins. Oh, I also got a free Severin shirt with the order, too. That was cool. I actually think it was in the bundle, so I don't think it was free, but more pins for the collection, because now I just get pins just because...
Are they from this movie?
Yes, I can confirm this. I'm not sure about this one, because it's just hard to tell, because Caroline Munro's throat is slit with blood around it. Got a pin of Caroline Munro, and then got a pin of Joe Spinell. Had to get a pin of Joe Spinell.
Yeah, can't go
Perry's
wrong.
future Halloween costume. I mean, just we don't have a camera to hold it up to.
Oh, yeah.
I was so mad because they do their like 12 o'clock midnight Black Friday like starts. There was a bundle that had a Joe Spinell plush. Not that costume of him in the film, but a different costume he wears towards the end of it. But it was like limit to 300. I forgot to do it at midnight, so I like did it at 3 o'clock the next day. And gone.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. That plush was awesome. Who wouldn't want a Joe Spinell plush? We got one more for the halfway to Black Friday sale. So we have the slasher Nightmare, also known as Nightmare in a Damaged Brain. I think that's what it's more commonly referred to in the United Kingdom. A fun little slasher film. It's really weird. It's got this recently released mental patient who heads down to Florida from New York. He's going to hunt down this woman. It's pretty fun. It's got some cool gore effects in it too. I gave it 4 pancakes. It's definitely worth checking out. There's definitely a bit of a lull in the middle where there's some family dynamic. She's dating a new guy type deal, and one of those animosity between the new guy and the kids. So
yeah.
So I think it's more well known for the controversy that it tried to say that Tom Savini did the effects for it. There's conflicting stuff on that. Savini denies that he worked on the film at all. He said he had nothing to do with it. There's some cast and crew that say, or he was on set at least supervising, like not actually doing the effects, but, doing some consulting stuff. And then there's other people who say, no, he was never there. Think more well known for that controversy.
Severin films, they do a good job on their boxes and solve.
Or again, the Severin stuff out of the way first. So now Severin Part 2. So this is the actual Black Friday.
Oh, we're on to the Black Friday.
So up next we have Footprints. Oh, Evelyn Stewart's in this. Nicoletta Elmy's in it too. So it's also known as Footprints on the Moon. Oh, cinematography was done by the guy who did The Bird with the Crystal Plumage cinematography, Vittorio Storaro. However you pronounce that name. Directed by Luigi Bassani, who directed The Fifth Chord. I did put down a note because there's Luigi's obsession with electric window blinds that just come down and like you hit a button and it's like, and then they come down. Because there's a scene like that in The Fifth Chord. They hit the button and the blinds come down. I'm like, was this a big thing in Italy or is this guy just obsessed with like
advanced technology,
electric blinds that?
I mean, do we even those aren't really common now?
No, exactly. So,
I mean, here.
I don't know if like you see any mansions that have something like that. The basic plot of it is a woman with amnesia travels to an island to find out what happened the past few days, which are a blank in her memory. It's very slow and very strange even by Giallo standards, but is very intriguing with a cameo. I call it a cameo, but they keep flashing back to this scene a few times with a cameo by Klaus Kinski, although whoever dubbed him for the English dub, it is not Klaus Kinski. Very easy to tell. And I like this one. I gave it a 3 pancakes. Like I said, it's really weird. It's a really slow build. You had to really it's definitely psychological. It is slow paced, so if you don't like slow paced stuff, it might not be your thing. But I liked it. Not one of my favorite Giallos, but I did enjoy it. I also put down a little note because there's shots of the moon in space and lunar landers, but I put, because they did blue filter in space. I'm like, leave it to the Italians to put blue filter on outer space for whatever God known reason.
Oh, I see a little bit. There's like some pictures.
Is there a picture of the blue
I
filter?
don't know. He has a spacesuit on. Maybe that's not blue filter. I don't know.
There might be some blue filter there.
I'm sure it's more prominent when you see it.
Oh yeah, it's like the opening scene during the credits, and it's like, really? So we have Closed Circuit. Now this is an interesting one because no English dub. It's just Italian because it was I believe it was an Italian TV film technically. Director Giuliano Montaldo. The most notable person I recognize is Flavio Bucci, or Bucci, or however you pronounce that. I'm pretty sure it's Bucci. It's probably like Fulci with there's 2 C's. I don't know. He plays the blind guy in Suspiria. He plays a big role in this. It was written by the guy who, Nicola Bartolucco, or maybe it's Bartoluccio. I don't know how double C's in Italian. I guess he worked on The Damned. I don't know if he wrote it or something. Basic plot: a man is shot in a movie theater during the screening of a spaghetti western, and police lock everyone in to catch the killer. This is not uncommon for Italian films or giallos. I guess this one's technically a giallo, or you could consider it. So yeah, it's really slow to start, but it picks up in the second half with great suspense and twists. So I gave it a 3.5. Like I said, the slow start, which I don't mind because I've watched a lot of these Italian giallos and stuff, so I'm used to it. As long as it keeps you engaged with the slow build. Kind of hurts it a little bit, but like I said, I gave it 3.5 pancakes. I do enjoy that one. It was a lot of fun, and the twist makes it worth it.
Looks interesting.
So we have The Changeling, starring George C. Scott, of course, directed by Peter Medak. So George C. Scott moves into a haunted house after the death of his family in an accident, where the spirit of a boy causes him to try and solve his murder. It's very moody and atmospheric with a great score. So this is one where you have to actually know what a changeling is, or else, because I mean, you hear The Changeling, you probably think, oh, maybe this ghost is a shapeshifter, right? Do you know what a changeling is?
A shapeshifter?
Yeah, it's definitely an archaic term because it's super hard to pull off this shit now. So a changeling, I guess it was very popular back in the day. I don't want to give away the plot too much. So a changeling is when you have a young child who is set to inherit like a lot of money in a trust, though. You know, a trust, you have to reach a certain age before you can get the inheritance.
Okay, yeah.
I don't want to spoil it. It's when, like, I didn't know what a changeling was. I was talking to J-Bones about it, and he's like, oh, yeah. It's like, you didn't know that? I'm like, yeah, I never knew that's what it was. Because, I mean, it's not very common anymore.
I didn't know that. It must be.
So what a changeling is when you swap out that child for another child. And I won't spoil the reasons. Well, I'm kind of ruining a lot of the plot here, but it's technically what a changeling is. So, very cool movie, a lot of good visuals. I gave it 4 pancakes. I like George C. Scott. He's a great actor, so.
I think I might have. Yeah. That's what I was going to say. The slipcover is different than the cover, because
yes.
I've seen this when scrolling for Tubi. With
yes, it was on my Tubi list, so I took it off because I got the physical copy.
Well, this is interesting.
It's definitely worth a watch. It's very, very well done. All right, up next. So I think I got suckered in again, this one by Severin, because it was Black Friday. I watched the trailer. I'm like, well, that looks cool enough. What the heck? I'll pick it up. I'll watch it. Why not? We have this 80s zombie film, Raiders of the Living Dead. Plus, it's got this awesome looking slipcover.
This is a mix between
and also
zombies and Indians.
It's another weird story. It's a little like Spookies, a little bit. We talked about that. There's a little bit of a mishmash of stuff. Somebody bought the film and then filmed new scenes to put into it, because there's a lot of times where film gets filmed and it sits on the shelf for a little bit, sometimes incomplete. Most notably, it stars, I mean, there's some other people in here that are probably more well-known older actors, but it's got Scott Schwartz in it. Scott Schwartz, who starred in Christmas Story.
Who is he in that?
This always bothers me because Ralphie's friends are Flick and Schwartz.
Okay.
But Scott Schwartz doesn't play Schwartz, he plays Flick. So go figure that one out.
So it's one of Ralphie's friends. Okay.
If I remember correctly. I could be mistaken. This is a Z-grade, cobbled together zombie movie. I didn't even write down the plot because it's kind of weird and all over the place. It has a killer theme. The opening theme is pretty banging.
Oh, yeah?
Ray guns made from Laserdisc players by Scott Schwartz.
That's dope.
And it starts out promising. I mean, it's still, of course, like really, I call it Z-grade because that's really what the film ends up being. But B-grade, you expect some cheesy acting, not good acting here and there. But yeah, it starts out promising, but has too much padding and not enough action. There are different cuts on there. I'm interested in see the other cuts just to see them. And I watched like a few seconds of the first cut just to see what it was about. And like it opened in like 1896 or something for like some reason. Whereas that's not even in, I guess, what you'd call the regular version. Yeah, I gave this one a 1.5 pancakes. It's not very good. It has some neat ideas in it. The premise sounds awesome. Laserdisc kids going around shooting, but it takes forever to get to that stuff. There's some Three Stooges footage in it because they go to like a theater that's showing Three Stooges shorts. And that's probably the best stuff in it because,
This one guy pretty much says all this in his, or this, whatever they are, this company.
Is it worth rewatching? I mean, it has some novelty factor to it because, it's I wouldn't call it so bad it's good, but just it's more of a curiosity piece. I did put that Scott Schwartz should have left his tongue stuck to a flagpole.
Oh, he's okay.
That was probably the better career decision.
He was that one.
I don't know if you know much about his career after this. We won't talk about it.
Nah. We could have saw him at the con and talked to him about it.
Was he at that? I hope I'm not confusing him with the guy who played Schwartz. One of those guys went on to
most of the panel.
A different type of acting career, if you catch my drift.
Oh, Mick Hardwood?
I could definitely play a soundbite here for you, but I won't.
What's his name again? Scott Schwartz.
Scott Schwartz.
Yeah, I think he's the one that stuck his tongue on it.
Are you ready for me to move on, or are you looking up to see his questionable filmography?
He was flicked. No, I'm just looking at it.
It might not list a lot because...
yeah, it does. Oh.
Yeah, we don't have to say it on air, but it's...
I mean, one of them's called Scotty's X-Rated Adventure.
Yeah.
It doesn't even say like that he did porn.
I think you forgot an adjective in front of that porn.
He did bad porn? Taboo porn?
G-A-Y?
Oh, okay. It doesn't say anything about that. If that was him.
Well, yes, but I mean, it's not going to tell you that from the title of the features. But yes, that's what I've heard is that's the type of porn he did.
It doesn't say it in his career.
Well, they're not going to put that because, I mean, for an actor, a lot of that stuff gets separated,
Oh, no, it says something here about it.
All right, moving on. So like I said, I'll probably...
it says he had non-sexual roles in them, though.
That's weird. All right, so up next, we have Spider Labyrinth.
Oh, boy.
Which I definitely got this one because it has effects from... Why doesn't it say it here? Oh, right here. Sergio Stivoletti. Like how the back of the box says that. And then an explosion's of total fucking insanity. That's pretty funny. So I think I watched a trailer for this one too, and I'm just like, oh, I definitely had to get this. It's an Italian film. A man heads to Budapest for research. So it's specifically church research. I think he's with the church. I'm not sure what church. I'm not sure if it's Christianity or Catholicism. To go coordinate with one of the researchers that hasn't reported in a long time about this ancient stuff that they're researching. He goes over to Budapest for research, but stumbles upon a conspiracy. It's a fantastic, batshit crazy, Italian Lovecraft-inspired film with great visuals, reminiscent of Argento, and great effects from Italian legend Sergio Stivoletti, who did the effects on Cemetery Man. More on that soon.
Looks interesting.
It reminds me a lot of John Carpenter's not In the Mouth of Madness. Is that the name of the movie? Yeah, In the Mouth of Madness.
I think so. That sounds.
Or is that the name of the H.P. Lovecraft book? Because I know it's close to the name of the book, but it's not the name of the book.
I'll find it.
I'm pretty sure it's In the Mouth of Madness with Sam Neill.
In the Mouth of Madness.
Yeah. Okay, so I had it right. It reminds me a lot of that, and I wonder if this had inspiration on that. Although this was a hard to find film, I guess, for the longest time.
Is it something about Dario Argento?
Yeah, it's got a lot of visuals like that.
If you ever wonder what a Dario Argento adaptation of a Lovecraft story would look like, here's your chance.
It is a lot like that. I absolutely love this one. So much so, it gets the perfect rating, 5 pancakes with syrup.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool.
I also put down in notes, Bush Ahoy.
Okay.
Oh, plus, so I got some swag for this film because I did get the bundle. Got a sticker of one of the people that goes around killing
like one of those guys like, hey, you want to supersize me? Yes, I do. Is this a spider lady? No. This is scary.
No, this might be a necklace for it.
This is cool stuff.
I mean, you're scared of Spider Lady. How about
Oh,
Spider Baby?
Get that away from me. What is that? Oh, yeah, this is definitely like Lovecraftian, this necklace.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's from the church, though. We'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
Spider Baby.
Okay, yeah, this is neat, though.
Some nightmare fuel. It does have some stop motion stuff, which is dated, but it's still fun.
I like stop motion.
Yeah.
That's weird, the babies.
I'm glad that's the part you focused on.
Sorry.
But
it's hefty.
Yeah, it is hefty.
It's nice.
Of course, I had to get the bundle with all these because I didn't own any of them on film. So, Mikhail Suave's The Church. I do love The Church. It's a very cool movie. A lot behind the scenes stuff. Originally kind of started out as going to be Demons 3, but then they said they didn't want to do another Demon sequel. Still has some of that stuff in it, though. Inspiration for it. You could definitely tell. It's a very cool film. I definitely highly recommend it. Of course, he's got cool slipcovers. So, so this bundle came with T-shirts. I forgot I didn't wear any of the T-shirts today, but one for each movie.
Wow, real nice.
So I got this woven iron-on patch of the. They call it the coveted gangbang scene, but it's not. It's the Goat Man Harvey Weinstein scene. Just put it that way. Which is also on the T-shirt, which is a very questionable thing to wear in public, but I do love this shirt. I think it's awesome. So up next, and this is one I was really excited about because I've never seen this Mikhail Suave film before. So he's only done 4 films. This was The Sect. Who's in this one? Oh, I know in The Church, Asia Argento's in there. Probably some other Italian.
Is that a lady?
Asia Argento?
Yeah,
that's Dario Argento's daughter.
A daughter. Okay, that's what was figured. Very, very nice slip covers by Severin.
Yeah. I think these ones for the Mikhail Suave are like the best. They're glossy and everything.
So wait, is this like a trilogy?
No.
The Church and the Sect came together, but not Spider Live.
There's more.
Oh, there's more. Okay.
Yeah, that one was I don't know who directed that one. I'd have to. But these are all Mikhail Suave films. Or Michel Suave, however you pronounce his name.
Yeah.
The story is a teacher helps an old man, but he is grooming her for nefarious purposes. It's similar to other Antichrist films, kind of like Rosemary's Baby, which I'll mention that in a second here. Suave provides his usual stunning visuals with great effects and score. Oh, Giovanni Lombardo Regice makes a brief appearance in this before he dies, because he dies in everything. The teacher is actually played by Jamie Lee Curtis's sister, Kelly Curtis.
Ah.
So I gave this one 4.5. It's definitely slow. It's probably I don't want to say it's like, if I were to rank them, this would be number 4 out of all the 4 Mikhail Suave films. I mean, for 4.5, that's still pretty good. And it definitely is slow. It's weird, supernatural, psychological, all that stuff going on with it. I put down as my little spoiler, kind of like The Church, but instead of a goat man, we have a stork man bangs a woman.
Oh boy. Do you have a patch for that too?
No, they didn't make a patch of that. And so last up from the Severin collection, and has its own nice little separate booklet. I think the other ones might have a booklet, I'm not sure.
If they're inside the case, I don't want to open
them. They might be inside the case, yeah. And of course, save the best for last. So we have, I forgot, there's also a goat head keychain, which I'm pretty sure goes with that, because I'm pretty sure that's the only movie that has the goats in it. Trying to remember.
The Church?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Goat man head keychain. So up last for the Mikhail Suave bundle, we have Cemetery Man, also known as, in Italy, Dellamore, which I think was also the name of the book that it's based on. This is Mikhail Suave's magnum opus about love, death, and zombies. A lot of people also call it the swan song to Italian horror, because it's kind of considered like the last great Italian horror movie.
Okay.
Has excellent score, and like I said, effects by Sergio Stivoletti. It's a very deep film, thought-provoking, and it's Suave's masterpiece. Gets better every time I watch it. I'm always amazed by this film. Easily 5 pancakes, covered with all the syrup you can get. So up next, we had the Scream Factory Shocktober sale. Oh, before we go on to that. So, and then, of course...
there's more accoutrements for this movie.
Mikhail Suave pin, because, part of the Severin Hall of Fame collection, got a pin of Mikhail Suave, so...
All right.
And then there was a Dellamore Cemetery Man enamel pin set.
Cool.
So you can open that up if you want to look at the pins. And then the bundle also came with Mikhail Suave's autograph.
Oh, that's cool.
On a little like poster card sized scene from the movie.
I mean,
which is very weird. You think it'd be a photo of him, but no, it's a photo of the two main characters in the movie. So he signed
probably like
thing.
canon himself just sign it.
I mean, it's probably more memorable than a photo of him.
Oh, these are neat. Man, they do a real good job with their pins.
Whoever, I forget who does their pins.
Yeah.
It might say on the back.
Oh, yeah,
of there.
is it
Pixel
Elixir?
Pixel Elixir, yeah.
Yeah, this is very nice.
So up next, Scream Factory Shocktober sale, and a few other things mixed in that I picked up randomly. First,
so now is this also during Black Friday?
It was also another sale that they had. Yeah, no, they have Shocktober, and then I think I also did Black Friday.
Oh, you said Shocktober.
So I put and others, so I lumped it together. So first off, these were get the collection. Plus, I think they might have been limited printing too. They always sucker me in with that. You know what they didn't sucker me into getting though? That they're limited to 1,500 or 1,200. Creepshow 3.
Nope.
No.
He's like hard pass.
Nope. Or God, what's that? Fishman's Paradise or Island of Paradise or something. So I watched it. I'm like, man, this is just kind of really mediocre and not that great. Demon of Paradise, that was it. Or whatever it was called. I'm like, no, hard pass on that one too. You can't sucker me into getting that one. You suckered me on Meat Cleaver Massacre. I'm not falling for it again. But Night of the Demons 2. Haven't watched it yet. I've been waiting. Sequel to Night of the Demons. I've watched reviews of this. Definitely seems really fun. Then we got...
I mean, I have a question here, though.
All right.
You sure they didn't sucker you in because there's a demon witch lady on the front that's about to lick a
she
sucker.
stars in the first one, I'm pretty sure. I think it's the same actress.
The tagline says trick or treat sucker.
But no, I've heard good things about that one. This one, on the other hand, I've heard really misses the mark. Oh, well. Night of the Demons 3.
Not 2, but 3.
Yeah, not 2, but 3. Definitely not as good from all the reviews I've seen of it. I mean, what the heck? I'm going to get it. It might at least be cheesy fun, so bad it's good.
That makeup looks weird on that devil in the back cover.
Yeah.
Does that lady have cocaine on her lips? No, that's paint.
We have Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. So I'm a big fan of the Tales from the Dark Side TV show. Speaking of Creepshow 3, this is technically probably more akin to Creepshow 3 in quality. A lot of people call it the third Creepshow movie, essentially. It's got stories that are written by, one of them's written by Stephen King. One's a story from Arthur Conan Doyle, which was adapted for the screenplay version by Michael McDowell, who's done a lot of writing stuff, worked on Beetlejuice. Then Michael McDowell actually wrote the third story too, and then the middle story was based on a short by Stephen King that George Romero wrote the screenplay for. Okay. The makeup effects consultant was Dick Smith, pretty big name. Christian Slater's in here. William Hickey's in here. Chong's daughter, I always forget his first name. Cheech and Chong. I know Cheech Marion, Chong's his last name, but his daughter, Ray Dawn Chong, is in this. You got James Remar, Deborah Harry.
Oh, James Remar.
Oh, Steve Buscemi's in here.
It's Tommy Chong.
Tommy Chong. I never remember. I know Cheech Marin from God, that show with Don Johnson, Nash Bridges back in the day. I always remembered his name from that in the credits. Is it Matthew or Joey Lawrence? Which Lawrence brother is it? Is it the one that says whoa or the other one? I can't remember. It doesn't really matter. I think it's Whoa Lawrence. Whoa. He's a little kid in this, so it's hard to tell.
I like Cody Rhodes.
His brother looks a lot like him. He's being held hostage by this witch who's going to eat him, going to bake him in the oven. But he stalls her by having her read stories from this book that she threw in the cage to keep him busy, these scary stories. So it's a fun one. I definitely like it. The stories are pretty cool. A lot of people like the third one the most. I don't hate it, but I think it's actually my least favorite, the third segment. I definitely like the other two a little bit better. The first segment is about Steve Buscemi gets this ancient mummy, has a scroll to bring it to life, to hunt down the people that cheated him out of a scholarship at the other college students. The second one is about William Hickey runs this pharmaceutical company that did its testing on cats for this highly addictive wonder drug, and he hires a hitman to hunt down this cat he said has killed all of his family. And then the third one is about this guy who sees this gargoyle come to life, stone gargoyle on top of the building, come to life, kill a guy. It makes him promise to never speak of this again for sparing his life, and then his life will turn around and meets Ray Dawn Chong, gets happily married. But what happens when he tells her the truth? Very fun anthology, very enjoyable. I gave it 4.5 pancakes, so definitely not quite as good as Creepshow.
Looks like I know it's probably the gargoyle on the cover. It looks like a gremlin.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what it is supposed to be opening that book. I know some people say they like it better than Creepshow 2. I don't know if I'd go that far. I don't know. Maybe I just more nostalgic for Creepshow 2. I watched it a lot growing up.
Yeah.
So up next we have Dead Time Stories, another horror anthology. It's been a while since I've watched this one, so I don't actually have any notes for it. A fun little film about a kid who won't go to bed, and his dad reads some Dead Time stories, scary stories. Actually, some cool effects in this, and it's got an awesome opening theme too. This is kind of like a low-cut film.
I've seen the cover on
Like a
Tubi
deep cut.
before.
Yes. Well, I had to pick it up because I actually like this movie, and I'm fond of it. Nostalgia for it.
Yeah,
Totally. Because I actually owned the VHS of it. What a random movie to own the VHS of from back in the day. I mean, that's kind of how things were. You got what you had. If you saw something cool, it's like, oh, look at that, Dead Time Stories. And,
you probably own that.
Cheap, yeah.
And I own Lion King.
I mean, I had those stuff too.
I know,
but given the price of VHSs back in the day, it was kind of like you had what you had. Kind of like with video games. Probably younger listeners don't know all that stuff about. It was a big deal to buy a game or a movie. So, I mean, renting was big because it was significantly cheaper. And, you buy something you watch it once, you're out like some of those VHSs back, they were 50 to like $70 when they first came out.
Yep.
So I'll go to the rental place and rent it for a couple bucks.
Yeah.
If you want to watch it again, you can rent it again or, then invest in it. Or a lot of times when the tapes went out, rental places would sell off their excess stock because, older movies, not going to get rented as much. So they would put those out for sale sooner or later for significantly cheaper because they've been used. But definitely fun. I don't have a rating for it, but I do really like that movie. It was on sale, so I picked it up.
When I was young, me and my family, we rented a lot.
Oh, yeah. So did I.
We had VHS.
Oh, same with like video games. Like who would rent a video game and then like, okay, I returned it and then my friend would go rent it and then we'd go over and play it at his house. Oh, yeah, we did that all the time. Up next... And man, if only you people would have justified me buying this and voted on it for Awful August to review it.
But you bought it anyways.
I did buy it anyways because I finally had to watch it for myself. I think it actually is streaming on Tubi now, so I'm like, darn it. We have The Exorcist. Well, actually, no, there is no "the" on this one. It's just Exorcist 2, The Heretic. So Linda Blair is treated by a doctor for her repressed memories with the help of a priest, but the demon may be dormant inside her. Okay, so this one... And I definitely see why people slammed into this, because it has a strange and confusing plot that's a bit all over the place. But it does have good cinematography, and the music's pretty good, and it has an interesting premise, if not executed well. But Ennio Morricone does the score, so I mean, you can't go wrong there.
Yeah, very good.
People who call this like the worst movie ever, or the worst horror movie ever, it's definitely not the worst horror movie ever. I've definitely seen a lot worse. Have you seen Raiders of the Living Dead, people? You would definitely be like, okay, I'd rather watch this. There's some big names.
You're like, have you seen Chuck?
I mean, there's some big name people in this, though. Louis Fletcher's in it. Max von Sydow. Well, that's because he's the priest from the first one, so he makes cameo appearances. Richard Burton. Obviously, Linda Blair returns.
So they tried.
Who's... why can't I think of it? Oh, James Earl Jones. There. His name's right there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of plays a bit role in this. I mean, you got all these people to star in this movie, and that it's a little bit of a... Oh, I forgot this. So there's this well in the sect, and they had a necklace for it. Back to the sect for a second, but cool little necklace of the design there. A lot of cool cinematography with that image there.
That's cool.
So yeah, Exorcist 2, finally watches. I gave it a 2.5, so it's like right on that. It's right on the Chud line. Better than Chud, but yeah, it's really recommended only if you're a completionist.
There's 2 cuts of this film, man. I don't know.
Is there another cut?
I don't know. It says there's a 117-minute and a 102-minute version.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, you always watch the longer version.
Yeah.
Maybe. More on that coming up.
Oh boy. All
right, so up next, we have Cat People. So speaking of McDowell's, actually, I don't think Michael McDowell is related. I don't know, but Malcolm McDowell's in this. Who else is in this? Ned O'Toole, Ruby Dee, Lynn Lowry, John Hurd. John Hurd. It always comes back to John Hurd. Speaking of Chud. So it's actually a remake of the 1942 Cat People. Oh, Nastasia Kinski is in this. I don't know if she's done a lot. I think she might be related to Klaus. I'm not 100% sure. Oh, yeah, the main theme's done by David Bowie.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Directed by Paul Schrader. I had high hopes for this one. It didn't quite live up to it. It's very, it's definitely confusing. There's like this weird dream sequence that I'm like, is it a dream or is it not a dream? It's very interesting movie. I don't have any notes written down for it, but basically, like, she meets her brother that's, I don't know what he was doing, and then he acts weird, and by the title you could tell cat people are involved. So, and her brother's a cat person. Spoiler: Malcolm McDowell. Oh man, I think his ass might have made the list for long-time listeners.
Malcolm McDowell.
Or for first-time listeners, the list of celebrity male asses I never wanted to see but did. It might be on there now. There's another one I saw, and I'm like, well, that one's on the list now too, but I forget who it was. And then she's like technically a cat person too, but doesn't know it. John Hurd's like the love interest, works at this zoo. It's very interesting. Bit slow at times though. Got some neat effects though. I gave it a 3 pancakes. It's probably worth checking out. Might not be your favorite though, you know. I liked parts of it, but it didn't live up to the hype completely. Oh man, I forgot another thing. So going back to Nightmare briefly, or Nightmare in a Damaged Brain. So Severin released a novelization of it, so I got the novel too. I haven't read it yet. Definitely looking forward to that.
Novelization.
All right, so last of the Scream sale pickups. So, I mean, we had to, right? We had to bite the bullet on this one, or I had to, and picked up The Bride, starring Jennifer Beals and none other than Sting, who, for first-time listeners, has deep lore in our podcast.
Yeah, this is not Sting the wrestler. This is Sting the singer.
So obviously it's a take on Frankenstein. Frankenstein's monster has already been made by Dr. Frankenstein, who is played by Sting, and he's making the bride for Frankenstein. And then he decides that he wants to keep it for himself, and he kicks out Frankenstein for going apeshit, like Wooly. Wooly's gone apeshit. It's kind of like a fun little adventure. Frankenstein befriends this, David Rappaport from Time Bandits. They used the word dwarf on the back cover here. I don't think that's a proper term to use anymore. So little person, the Frankenstein's monster, who's called Victor for some reason.
There's a lot of movies called The Bride. Just trying to find.
Yeah. Because, he goes out, wanders on his own, and he's befriended by this circus performer that helps him out, but then ultimately returns to, do battle with Dr. Frankenstein over The Bride. It's okay. It's got some good production values. I mean, the sets are awesome and everything. Everything looks period to, the era they were going for.
It actually does have an incredible cast.
Yeah. It's nothing you've seen before.
Clancy Brown is
predictable.
Victor Frankenstein, or Victor.
Yes.
Monster.
Yep. He plays the
monster. And
Warwick
Davis is in there, and Carrie Ellis. A lot of big names in it. There were some lull moments in it.
It is slow-paced at parts. But I mean, because you had to see Frankenstein, befriended and then, get betrayed by the circus people, his little buddy gets killed, so he goes on,
Warwick Davis was the little buddy, right?
No, it's David Rappaport.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Yeah. Okay, yeah, now I remember. It's coming back.
It has its lulls, but it has its moments. It's entertaining. I mean, got Sting in there overacting, so I gave it 3 pancakes. It was fun. It's not going to wow your socks off, but I mean, there's decent acting in it. Questionable if you get to see Jennifer Beals naked, though. Her face is in shadow. I'm like, we're pretty sure that was a body double. Happens a lot in movies like this with big names. They just body double whenever they need to do nudity.
Yeah, I would also give it a 3. I concur with you.
All right, so next up, because I was at... Why was I? Oh, because I was getting something. Because I stopped by Best Buy. Obviously, they don't do physical media anymore. But,
poor Best Buy.
But I saw they had some awesome selection of different stuff, including some. They definitely had some Scream Factory stuff, and they had some. They actually had some MVD stuff too, which was pretty cool. So I actually went there looking for one specific movie because it took Walmart forever to get a freaking copy.
Was this the last of their stuff? Like they're not restocking?
No, this was before
that
announcement.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Then I heard, I'm like, oh man, I just found out Best Buy holds all the good stuff. What I went there for was the 4K release of The Exorcist, which has the extended director's cut and the original theatrical version. I've only ever seen the director's cut. Yeah, about that. I probably need to watch the theatrical cut because I've heard it's better. But a lot of story about this movie and me, so I'll save it for later because we'll probably review it. And
I've never seen.
I don't want hate. I don't want hate being thrown upon me.
I might get hate because I never seen the movie. You can't see everything, people.
So, from Scream Factory, the Scream Factory release of Carrie got this awesome steelbook. Carrie, another very famous horror movie, very popular.
Very good movie.
Oh, again, I will bite my tongue.
Okay, you bite your tongue.
Yeah.
Better than the remake. I'll tell you that much. I never seen Carrie 2. So.
Man, almost won our Awful August Bowl one time. Rage.
Carrie 2, Exorcist 2.
So up next, we have another Scream Factory 4K release of Nightbreed. David Cronenberg stars in it, but Clive Barker's Nightbreed.
Clive Barker.
Watched this with Murky Mullador, and I don't know if we have a name for that other guy yet. Yeah, I really like Nightbreed. It's very cool. I won't spoil the premise because it's tough to explain the premise. Very awesome. Kind of flopped at the box office. And this has the director's cut. It also has the theatrical cut. I saw online people were talking about recently they like the theatrical cut better. I've never seen the theatrical cut, but it's slow paced. It's definitely slow paced, but it doesn't feel like it's wasting your time with how slow paced it is. Like all the scenes kind of build up to everything and matter. Great, awesome monster effects. So I gave it 4.5 pancakes. I mean, I guess the basic plot is a guy dies and joins these monster people, the Nightbreed as they call themselves, because he's being blamed for these murders that are caused by his doctor and sending him up to be killed by police in a shootout. Not a shootout, but they gun him down. Up next, we got not so much a horror movie, but it is from MVD, and some people do lump it into the horror category because of the monster effects are pretty good, except on the titular character. Plus, it's directed by Wes Craven and has Adrienne Barbeau in it. Swamp Thing, the old movie from...
You make my heart.
Not to be confused with any of the TV series. Ooh, there's an unrated international cut. That one probably has Adrienne Barbeau naked. Did I say that? I heard a funny story about this movie where because they filmed, that for the U.S. version, she didn't want that in the movie, or she didn't want it in the movie, so it was only in the international cut. But then when they released on VHS, they accidentally put the international cut on the U.S. VHS.
Thousands of children's lives were forever
scarred. What year this is to give context. It's from... copyright 1981 it looks like. So yeah, it's from the 80s. It's not any of the modern stuff, obviously. Haven't watched it in a while, but I do like it. It's fun. Plus Adrienne Barbeau's in it. The guy who plays Swamp Thing does a good job. And up next, we got Pumpkinhead, another Scream Factory. And that was the cool thing about going to Best Buy. I'm like, whoa, they have stuff from MVD? That's unusual. I'd never see that stuff in the wild. Pumpkinhead. So obviously Lance Henriksen's in this, so... Directed by effects guy Stan Winston, with the Pumpkinhead effect done by him. Very good. It's been a while since I watched this to give an official review. This is another one I think is slightly overrated. I mean, the monster effects are great, don't get me wrong, but the acting of everyone other than Lance Henriksen is like annoying. Like all the college age or teenage age kids, they're just annoying. Yeah, the story is his son gets run over while these guys are doing four-wheeling. They come over a hill and hit his son, and his son dies. So he wants revenge, so he goes see this old witch who knows about the Pumpkinhead legend and, does the thing. So the Pumpkinhead has to go hunt down and get the revenge. But every time it kills, he feels the pain. He kind of has second thoughts about it. Like I said, I like it, but I don't know, people like rave about this movie. I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong, the effects are amazing. I like the movie, but I'm not like, oh, this is like one of the best horror movies ever made. Some of the best effects, sure, I'll give you that. The Pumpkinhead's pretty awesome.
I've heard of it, but I haven't heard of like rave stuff about it.
Yeah. Next, so got this awesome steelbook release of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original. This steelbook's awesome because it has that original poster art on there. Yeah. I always love that poster art. It's got 4K and the Blu-ray.
It's got a poster.
It's got a poster in
That's
there
dope.
too. I mean, Tobe Hooper classic. I don't need to tell you, 5 Pancakes covered with syrup. Great movie. Then we got 4K release, and I know a lot of people hate on this artwork for some reason. They're like, why can't you just do the original artwork on the slipcover? I'm like, I don't care. It's something different. It's interesting artwork. Rosemary's Baby. Who plays?
Did you get that at Walmart? Is that one of those Walmart?
No, this is actually produced by William Castle. What's that?
Goofy covers. Walmart does some of those goofy covers.
This isn't a goofy Walmart cover. I knew about this cover before coming up to the release of this, and people were complaining. Mia Farrow is in this.
Yeah, okay.
Obviously a pretty well-known, famous horror movie. I need to sit down and watch it entirely the way through. I caught a lot of it on TV before, including the ending, and it just seemed okay. I think this is another one that people are like, whoa, this movie's so great. And I'm like, it's just okay. I mean, it's got some weird visuals, which are cool, but I don't know. Like I said,
this cover is actually cool. What's going on here?
They got the two images going into each other.
Yeah.
But people hate it because it's like, probably because it's like flat. Everything in the picture is very flat.
I don't know. I think it looks cool, actually.
I don't have a problem with it. I asked AJ about it. He said it was okay. I understand people have nostalgia for the old cover artwork, so I get it. So up next, we have The Haunting of Julia. Again, we got Mia Farrow again. So some people said that it's a little inspired by Rosemary's Baby. A little bit. I mean, obviously, it's not the same story, but why the director got Mia Farrow and everything. So the story is grieving mother Mia Farrow moves into a haunted townhouse and sees a ghost girl. Is she good or evil? So it's a little slow early, but has great atmosphere, a decent score, and plays into the grieving mother aspect very well. And I do like the ending, but it is it's definitely I won't spoil it, but yeah, that's hits you hard emotionally. I gave this one 3.5 pancakes. Like I said, a little slow, but it does have some great visuals. It was one of those I'm like, no, where between 3 and 4 do I put this one, you know? And that's another Scream Factory release, so like all this stuff that I wouldn't like go out of my way to buy on Scream Factory unless it was they're doing, you know, one of their half off sales or just big sales. But I'm like, I'm here at Best Buy, I see this on the shelf, sure, grabbing it. The same with the Steelbook of Carrie. I'm not a super big Carrie fan, but what the heck, I'll get it, add it to the collection. I mean, every horror fan has to have a copy of Carrie and Arachnophobia. So this is just, I don't even know who released this Blu-ray. It's just some generic Blu-ray release.
You got that Arachnophobia.
Bunch of spiders start taking over a town movie. Very fun.
John Goodman's in there, right?
Yeah, John Goodman's in it.
I think I've seen bits and pieces of it, not the whole thing.
Jeff Daniels is the main guy. I know it's produced by Spielberg, or he's the executive producer, one of them anyways. Also produced by Kathleen Kennedy, so take that as you will. I know she gets a lot of hate on for Star Wars stuff. Oh, it's also got the late Julian Sands in there. Yeah, it's a fun little movie. Haven't watched it in a while, so I don't know what quite I'd give it. It'd probably fall in like the 3 range, is my guess, just off the top of my head. Lastly, we got another MVD release, so that's awesome, from their Rewind collection, 4K of Ghoulies. Good old, Luca Bercovici directed this. Okay, so executive producer Charles Band, so yeah, band film with the makeup effects by John Carl Buechler. So yeah, it's a band-produced little rubber monster movie where a guy inherits a wizard's house and begins experimenting with rituals. It's a fun film and Buechler's Ghoulies look great, but it's a bit slow and the Ghoulies were clearly forced into the script. So this was one of those where they basically just the story about the wizard stuff, and then Charles Band was like, we gotta put little rubber monsters in this movie, so they added in the Ghoulie stuff, forced it into the script.
We got the puppets too.
But it's definitely a fun little movie. I gave it 3 stars, so pretty cool movie.
Didn't they make a bunch of sequels?
Yes. There's Ghoulies 2, Ghoulies 3, they go to college, and Ghoulies 4? Or is Ghoulies 4 the one where they go
Is
to
it called
college?
Ghoulies 3, they go to college?
Yes, Ghoulies 3, Ghoulies go to college. Jesus. I think directed by John Carl Buechler, the effects guy, if I remember correctly. I heard somebody talking about it.
These numbers on the side of these MVD movies, I just don't know what they mean, but
maybe
2 discs. It says 2 discs.
No, it's there. It's kind of like Vestron. Vestron numbers their releases.
Okay.
You'll see in a
Swamp Thing has one. All right, yeah, good.
Yeah, you got to buy all their stuff in their collection, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and everything. So up next we got a couple Arrow releases.
You're on your way. Oh, I like Arrow.
Yeah, the artwork is what sold me on this one, and the premise. It's an 80s slasher.
80s slasher, right up your alley.
So yeah, Death Screams, it's this southern-themed slasher where college kids on break go to a carnival and then a bonfire/cemetery while being stalked by a machete-wielding killer. A lot of slow parts hurt this one, but there's enough TNA and cheesy FX toward the end to make it a decent slasher. The carousel scene and the staircase scene are standouts of the films. It does star playmate Susan Kiger, or Keeger, I don't know how you pronounce that name. It has a lot of promise to it, and there's a lot of cool scenes in it, but just kind of let down a bit here and there. Big name in here is David Nelson, who was a child star. I mean, he's grown up in this from the TV show The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet.
Never heard of that.
It's from back in the day. So
okay.
He directed this one. But it's a fun little film. It has its moments. Not that great, though. So I put it right at that 2.5. Right on the chud line, you know. Right above the chud line. Really worth it if you're like a horror completionist to watch, or you're a slasher completionist. But like I said, the carousel scene is so well done. Like when that scene happens, I'm like, damn, this finally got there. And then after that, it kind of slows down again. And it's like, really? All right. And then from the other part of the Arrow sale, because I'm like, screw it. I don't know if they're ever going to put this in a Giallo Essentials pack to have. So Lucio Fulci's Don't Torture a Duckling. Bunch of little kids, they're being murdered by an unknown assailant. This one guy's trying to figure it out with this one girl. Oh, Barbara Bouchette's in this. I just saw her in The Red Queen Kills 7 Times, which is what the back of the box says. Yeah, there's some awesome death scenes in this. The ending's pretty awesome. Really enjoy it. I gave it 4.5 pancakes. I do put a comment, I don't know what Fulci's obsession with Donald Duck is. I guess Donald Duck is even mentioned in the title, some of like the foreign titles, but obviously can't do that in America. Italy is notorious for It's cash-in sequels that, like Terminator 2. If you've ever heard of the Italian Terminator 2. Yeah, they do that a lot. They cash in on sequels. I mean, look at the original Zombie. It's known as Zombie 2 to cash in on Dawn of the Dead, which was called Zombie in Italy. So, not that it was like made to cash in on that, but it was titled that by the producers to market it. They do that a lot. Obviously, in America, you couldn't put Donald Duck in the title, but because it's not the first one where there's a Donald Duck involved.
Are you saying that
in the story.
It could be potentially called "Don't Torture Donald Duck"?
You'd have to look up the alternate title. We don't have to do it now.
Okay.
All right, so now we got our Vinegar Syndrome pack. So some of this stuff is stuff I picked up at the exchange. The rest of it was from when I saw Severance Black Friday sale. I'm like, let me go over to Vinegar Syndrome, which was a mistake.
You know, they're all going to have all those companies probably have
the title, and then you see this awesome looking slipcover. So you have Girls' School Screamers. I think it's going to be like, oh, okay, so we got a slasher movie about a girls' school or something. So they're at an old girls' college. They're assigned the task of cleaning this old mansion up, but it has like a weird, deadly past to it. The school inherited it. But then weird stuff starts happening. It has some interesting premise to it. The idea is cool. It's just really slow in parts. And for a movie called Girls' School Screamers, what do you expect to see in it?
Cleavage, of course.
Well, more than that.
And some bush.
No, just, some boobs. And
That's
you're
what
just
I mean.
like, and there's
cleavage.
There's none.
Oh, okay. Bare cleavage.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry.
You expect to see some gratuitous nudity, but there's
I'm sorry.
zero,
I didn't want to be,
which is kind of interesting.
Too crude. Okay.
I understand,
boobies.
but
I expect to see boobies in the movie.
I mean, that's not the reason I bought it, but
no, I understand.
But it's
I mean, the cover looks really good.
It has brief moments, but overall, just kind of misses the mark. But
guy's kind of face looks like. Sorry.
I gave it 2.5 pancakes. So again, it's like one of those. See it only if you really want to.
Guy's kind of face looks like pizza.
Not necessary, but it's right on that line of good, bad. All right, so up next, The Cellar. So in this one, a family moves into a ranch, but little do they know a monster dwells in their basement. Again, this one's definitely a little slow in the middle, but it picks up in the climax. I mainly picked it up because I looked into it and it was directed by Kevin S. Tenney, who directed the original Night of the Demons. And I think he directed at least one of the sequels. I'm not sure if he did both, but he definitely worked on all three. I gave it the extra half of pancakes, so I did give it 3 pancakes because it does got the cool monster and, but the slow parts kind of slow it down. I could definitely see going down to a 2.5 maybe. It's one I got to rewatch. Also, there's another cut of it, which might be worth checking out. And I might have watched the wrong cut. I don't know. Could be one of those where they mislabeled the cuts. That happens on movies sometimes, on physical releases.
All these cuts. Just give us the good one.
Yep. Up next, got the combo 2-pack of Nothing Underneath and its Giallo sequel. Both Giallos. Too Beautiful to Die. I talked about them before when I watched them on Tubi, but I'm like, I like both of these films and I knew I'd want to pick them up. And I actually have a short stack review on the website, themadpancaker.com. I forgot to plug that earlier, of Too Beautiful to Die. So you can read that. And then I forget what episode I talked about Nothing Underneath in. So up next, another Giallo. 5 Women for the Killer. A killer is targeting pregnant women. It's a solid and sleazy Giallo, although the lack of a dub makes it tough to keep track of characters. It's got solid score and cinematography. It has a predictable twist, but has a double twist. Oh, talked about Bush Ahoy before. I put down Bush galore because, oh man, is there
I could just tell by the cover.
Yeah, you could tell by the slipcover. Although if you slide up the slipcover, oh no, they didn't censor it out on that one. Or did they? I gave it 3.5. Like I said, the twists make it interesting and, a lot of perversion and brutal murders. So then up next, for the millionth time, because there's a million movies with this title, we have Delirium, or as its Italian name, Delirio Caldo, by Renato Polselli.
Some stuff going on the back of the
Yeah, there's some stuff going on in the back. Yeah, keep the American side face in front. In this one, a doctor kills women. Or does he? No, he does. But there are deeper twists in this super sleazy Giallo. And this is another really sleazy one. It's got weird dream sequences that are definitely a highlight of this wacky and great Giallo. I put down it's batshit crazy and it's got crotch grabs galore.
Oh, yeah.
I gave this one 4 because it's just so crazy and out there and sleazy. I really had fun with that one. So up next, we got Forgotten Gialli Volume 1, which is a 3-pack. So there's 3 Giallos in this. So I'll talk about the middle one real quick. I talked about it in a short stack before when I watched it on Tubi. Police are blundering in the dark, so I have seen that one before.
That's a plural, Giallo, Gialli.
Yes. Again, going with commonly named movies, we have Trauma from 1978. Keyword there. This is not the Dario Argento Trauma. More on that in a bit. So in this one, a writer stays at a B&B where sleazy couples are killed and disappear. The plot and twist are very derivative of Psycho, and you kind of see it a mile away, but it's entertaining enough to find out why. Plus has a solid score in cinematography. So I gave that one 3 pancakes. It's just kind of okay. I liked it, but it wasn't, like I said, it's very derivative Psycho, so it's like, kind of seen it before. The last giallo on this 3-pack is The Killer is One of 13 from 1973. So a woman hosts a get-together of associates she suspects murdered her husband, but someone starts to kill them off. It's very slow to start, but picks up toward the end. A decent Agatha Christie-inspired giallo, starring notables Simon, or Simone, however you pronounce him. It's a guy, I'm pretty sure. Andreo, and Paul Naschy. Spoiler, the killer isn't one of the 13, which was very, very, I'm like, that wasn't one of the 13 people they mentioned when they were all sitting at the table. That's a bunch of bullshit. So it's another fun one, just okay, but I gave it 3 pancakes, so. We have another film called Trauma. This time, the actual Dario Argento Trauma. It's been one I've been wanting to rewatch and own for a while, so. Asia Argento is hunted by a black glove killer with a motorized wire decapitator. It's definitely derivative of Argento's other gialli in plot structure, but still great with his usual style and visuals, and has great effects and score. Plus the effects this time were actually done by Tom Savini, unlike another movie we talked about earlier. Another very good giallo. I do like this one, and I gave it 4.5 pancakes. So next up we have, directed by Lamberto Bava, A Blade in the Dark. I do really like this one, and I wanted to own a copy. So, a man moves into a villa to score a horror movie, but women around him are murdered. It's a well-done giallo. It was originally supposed to be made for TV in like segments, so it feels a bit long and drawn out, but I still enjoy it. Well-done giallo by Lamberto Bava. Although slow at times, it has good chase sequences, a solid score, and clever movie-within-movie tropes. Plus, it also has the infamous little kid that plays Bob in House by the Cemetery. They might even have had the same guy do the dub. I can't remember, because there's another movie. I could be thinking of a different movie, though. But I gave it 4 pancakes. I really enjoy Blade in the Dark. And next up we have Fade to Black. A movie-obsessed kid with an overbearing aunt dons the personas of classic movie characters to get revenge on his enemies. It's a fantastic film that pays homage to classic Hollywood, and you really do feel for the kid. It also stars Tim Thomerson. Ooh. And I joke, did Jack Death go down the line again? I didn't even know he was in it until I got the copy and saw the name there. I'm like, oh man, I definitely have to watch this now. Really great, I guess technically you'd call it a slasher. I gave it 5 pancakes. Not quite syrup. I was on the borderline there. It's really well done. The homages to, like I said, old Hollywood characters, like he dresses up as a cowboy, Dracula, he does all this stuff.
Sounds real interesting.
It is very good. It's definitely worth checking out. I've known about it for a while. People talk about it a lot, so.
Oh, Make Your Works.
Yeah.
Did you say that? I'm sorry.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't run through all the cast. I just knew Tim Thomerson was in it. Then last up from Vinegar Syndrome, we have Fatal Games. Another offbeat slasher. So Olympic hopefuls are picked off one by one. While the javelin kills are repetitive, this is a fun slasher with some TNA and an excellent ahead of its time twist. Very relevant to today's some hot issues. Plus it has an awesome 80s theme song. Interestingly, Linnea Quigley does a body double cameo for somebody naked in it. The bareback side of her. Like I said, I have a lot of fun with this one. It does have some slow parts to it, but I like the overall premise, the twist, and everything else about it, and that awesome theme song makes up for it. I give it 4 pancakes. Really fun if you need some off-the-beaten slashers to watch.
When you look at the cover, kind of, you're like, is this a cheesy rip-off of like the Hunger Games? Not like anything says it,
I wasn't getting that vibe.
No, I wasn't getting that vibe, but that's what you think when you hear that name of the movie.
Up next, we'll cover some exchange and Amazon pickups that I did because I was looking for stuff, and when I was getting gifts and stuff for other people, I'm like, since I'm on here, let me throw in something for me.
It says gratuitous nudity.
Oh, yeah.
Gratuitous. Okay.
Gratuitous?
I can't say it anymore.
First off, got a pickup from the exchange. So this is back to a video game because I never owned the original. I have the director's cut with the DualShock, so everybody knows the infamous music in that. By blind Beethoven, Japanese Beethoven, who wasn't actually blind, but that's a story for another thing. So, but I got the original one. So the original Resident Evil, complete in box. So the box is pretty good shape.
Long box too.
Yep, gold PlayStation long boxes. Pretty good shape too. Just the top paper is peeling, just lift it up a little bit, but little glue will fix that. So otherwise good condition, has the manual and everything. So
complete in box.
Yep. All right. Actually, had my brother track this down for me because I couldn't find it.
What is this crap here?
Mind. So got the steelbook. Plus, because I realized from watching my copy that it was 4x3, which I'm like, that's lame. So had him pick me up the Blu-ray steelbook of Leprechaun collection. So all the Leprechaun films on there. If we ever get
Comes
around
in its
to
own
doing-
trash can. I'm joking.
Not really.
Joke.
Then up next, so talk about Vestron. So, hey, look at those numbers on the side.
Oh.
I watched this with J-Bones a while ago. A lot of big names in this. So Sundown, The Vampire in Retreat, a fun little vampire movie. I definitely recommend checking it out. Up next, we got 2-Pack. So I'd seen the original before, and I couldn't find the sequel streaming for the longest time. It was, and then it disappeared. I haven't watched a sequel, but I do want to. So we have Slime City and Slime City Massacre. So if you're into melt movies with a lot of melting and gooey action, definitely like the first one. I mean, it's not high art or great or anything, but it's cheesy and fun. I'm sure the sequel is. The sequel was made years later in this says copyright 2016. I don't know if the sequel was made. Oh, 2010 was when the sequel was made, it says here. But the original was from 1989, so they got a lot of the cast back to make a sequel to the original.
Cool.
So up next, we have a Kino Lorber double feature. We have The Abominable Dr. Phibes and Dr. Phibes Rises Again with good old Vincent Price in there. And then the second one also has Peter Cushing in there. The premise of the first is basically Vincent Price is getting revenge for people who he think killed his wife in botched surgery. So I gave that one 4 just because Vincent Price is always great and everything. It's got a lot of fun, cool murders. He sets up elaborate murders and he kind of ties into the deadly sins, but a little questionable on that, as I've heard. And then the sequel, he's trying to resurrect his wife in some Egyptian place where he can resurrect dead people or something. It's very weird, but there's this archaeologist who's trying to find it too. It's another fun one. Probably not as good as the original. I gave it 3.5. I put that it has the most elaborate death traps. You could definitely say there's some inspiration for some Saw movies in those films.
Okay.
Not that I've seen any of those and know, but very similar. He goes through these elaborate steps to set up some of these death traps. So up next we have Blood Diner, which is from director Jackie Kong. These two brothers are trying to resurrect some ancient god. Not a good god either. They're killing random women and taking their body parts, almost a bit like pieces, and put them together to resurrect their ancient god. That's not a good god, like I said. I think it has, I don't know if it is specifically Hindu/Indian gods, but it seems like that's kind of the vibe it's going for. It's very fun, a lot of awesome gore in it, quirky horror comedy. I gave it 4.5. It's really great. I also wonder, though, if it's almost like a pseudo-sequel to a movie I talked about before, Herschel Gordon Lewis' Blood Feast. Maybe it's an Egyptian god. Only because the guy sounds like the guy in the first one. Plus, he dies at the beginning of the movie. Their uncle, who's now like a brain in a jar that talks to them, being kept alive. Wait, is this supposed to be like a Blood Feast sequel? Because there's a similar premise to that where he's killing people to bring back a god. Up next, we got another Vestron. Got 2-Pack of Waxwork and Waxwork 2. Very fun. Has Gremlin star Zach Galligan. Is that his name, if I remember correctly?
I think it's...
Yep, Zach Galligan. Yep, I see it here. Very fun movies, worth checking out.
We saw the first one together.
Yes, the first one, David Warner is trying to bring about, I don't know, the end times, something crazy, by capturing people in these waxwork scenes that transport them to another dimension when you cross the velvet rope. So very fun. And then Waxwork 2 is just batshit crazy insanity with a ridiculous plot that's very hard to describe, but has that same horror genre, different type movie jumping premise. Like there's one scene that's clearly an homage to Aliens. It kind of lulls in the middle where they go to like a medieval time. It takes a lot of place in there, but then in the finale, they're jumping through all sorts of, like, there's a Dawn of the Dead clearly inspired one in the mall. They're jumping through all sorts of different times fighting each other. It's very cool.
That's cool.
Highly recommend both of those movies.
Yeah, they're good movies.
So the last one, been one I wanted to check out because it's got a lot of hype. And I probably won't review it here because I might do a quick cake of it. So we have Thanksgiving. Eli Roth's Thanksgiving-themed slasher. Like
this came out recently, right?
Yes, it was released last year.
I haven't seen it.
Then the Blu-ray just came out recently, so I picked it up and watched it. So I'll probably do a quick cake review for the YouTube channel. So speaking of quick cakes, so holding here, I have been holding off on talking about them, but I'll get out a quick cake on YouTube sooner or later. I have one recorded for the first one. I have to record one for the second one. But we have Evil Dead Rise, so I have a quick cake, and like I said, I have to put it on YouTube. And then we have Scream 6. So I have to do a quick cake for that one, too. And you
I
can
talked
find out my
about
thoughts
Evil Dead
about.
Rise.
Yes, you did.
One episode.
You can hear my thoughts about it in the quick cake when I get around to editing it. And then I'll probably have to do, because I just caught it not too long ago, a quick cake on Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
Oh, you saw that?
Yeah.
Cool.
And then speaking of some more short stack reviews, I recently talked about Bloody Wednesday on the website, themadpancaker.com. And then I should have another one coming up in April here when we're recording. So look forward to that. And then I got one last hot cake here, relevant to today, another gift from my brother and his wife. So we got this little figure of Dr. Loomis from Halloween. One of those 3 3/4 inch figures. So very cool. I like on the back it says, you can shoot him 6 times. And then I always like to say, or 7. So a little segue here.
That's a nice figure, though. Really nice.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's got the nice cloth trench coat.
This seems like it's better quality than those reaction.
Yeah,
figures.
some.
I'm not saying
I don't mind those.
No, I'm not knocking
You also have to understand that's the style those figures are going for. They're not. They're like supposed to be like the old little 80s G.I. Joe action figures you got. Or not.
And
G.I. Joe,
I love how they have clothing. Not plastic
Yes.
clothes.
But they're not supposed to be like super duper high quality, But that leads us to today's review, which was supposed to be for October, but look at that. But I promised it to you, so I gotta deliver. Before that, we'll take a brief break. And we're back.
A dinosaur story.
Apologies for the super dump of hotcakes. It was definitely a long time to get through here. I thought I could go quicker and lightning through them, and then I did it. Brings us to today's review, but before that, I still have a bunch of these digital codes from some of these movies, so if you want one of those, feel free to leave us a voicemail. You can do that at themadpancaker.com, or it's very weird now because Spotify for Podcasters is changing over to just Spotify. It's very weird, but you can go, you could track us down there at the International House of Horror Podcast. Just look us up and find out how there. I'm not sure, but themadpancaker.com is the for sure go-to thing. You just click on the microphone. All you had to do to get one of these codes, I got a bunch of different movies here.
Look at
some
that.
of the ones,
you get a free movie if you just leave a voicemail, guys.
I mean, well, you could have 8 movies if you cash in on this Leprechaun one.
8 movies?
Yeah, because the Leprechaun one
Warwick
had
Davis
one, so
movies.
He's not in all 8 of them.
Never mind.
He's in 6.
All right, well, that's 6 and 2 Jennifer Anistons.
Well, it's 4, 2 that belong in the trash can.
All right, we're doing some weird Steiner math.
Jeffrey Aniston's only in 1.
Okay, never mind.
Leave us a voicemail, and I'll gladly send you one of those, or obviously email you the code or something. But anyways, brings us to today's review of Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. As the back of the box tells us, Michael still lives, and he's out for his revenge. So this is the second entry in the what is called Thorn trilogy. My favorite joke about it, though, is from James Rawle from Cinemassacre, calls it the Pink Panther trilogy because all 4, 5, and 6 all have the same names as the Pink Panther movies. Because the last one was what? The Return of Michael Myers. So the Return of the Pink Panther. The Revenge of Michael Myers. The Revenge of the Pink Panther. And then the next one is The Curse of Michael Myers or The Curse of the Pink Panther. They all have the same naming convention.
Do you want to hear another thing that's pretty interesting?
Sure, if you want to drop it now.
Yeah, it's not going to skew too much, although we haven't delved into the movie.
Sure.
Like, it's called Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers.
Mm-hmm.
What's funny about it, in this movie, so when they show the title card, they just call it Halloween 5.
Mm-hmm.
But what's funny is, in Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning, the Part 5 is not on the title card.
Yes,
and Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child, the 5 is missing.
Yes, I know.
So it's like this weird commonality. Yeah. I just thought that was interesting.
Box. Yeah, so
yeah.
Do I want to read the synopsis on the back of the box, or do we care?
You are the synopsis.
Of course, it stars Donald Pleasance, and Daniel Harris is back, and Ellie Cornell, got Bo Star.
Oh.
Jeffrey Landman, Tamara Glenn, Jonathan Chapman. I must have written down everybody that just showed up in the opening credit crawl. Matthew Walker and Wendy Kaplan. Co-starring Betty Carvalho, Troy Evans, Frank Como, and David Urson. We got special makeup effects by K&B. Music by Alan Horwath, longtime music collaborator with John Carpenter. Mustafa Akkad, executive produced by Ramsey Thomas, and directed by Dominique Othinian Gerard. Good luck if I pronounce that right. We quickly open with our credits and title card in a fire font. Apparently, they only had enough money in the budget to animate the fire for the actual title and not the subtitle. Is this a sign of the quality of the rest of the movie? Yes, it is.
This is the, for the time being when this came out, the last Halloween movie to feature a pumpkin in the opening credits until Halloween 2018.
During the credits, the film keeps quick cutting back and forth to someone wielding a knife, complete with sloshing sounds. Can we just have the Halloween theme now, please? That's all I really want. Halloween theme,
All
title,
day.
Credits.
I need piano in my life.
And then on to the rest of the movie. It literally takes 2 minutes before we hear the theme song. What am I watching? St. Elmo's Fire? I caught a lot of that movie on TV. That movie takes forever to finally St. Elmo's Fire. Get John Parr's, St. Elmo's Fire song. It's like at least 4 or 5 minutes, if not longer.
Don't bore us. Get to the chorus.
Right, exactly. It turns out that a pumpkin is being carved. Judging by how violently they're wielding that knife, someone must really hate that pumpkin. Hey, do you remember the ending of Halloween 4? No? That's okay, they're going to show it to you again. Like good old slasher tradition. Nothing says quality horror movie quite like reused footage. We even see that Michael Myers' mannequin run over again, seen from part 4. Hasn't Andrew McCarthy and Kim Cattrall's extended family suffered enough people? But wait, it's not exactly the same, because after they shoot Michael 1,000 times and he falls down a collapsing well, the police toss down a stick of dynamite for good measure. An even better sign of quality is the retconned recap. We're quickly stacking up the pancakes for this one, wink. Great, Michael Myers is finally dead. Movie over. Check, please? Oh, wait. He managed to crawl through a tunnel and evade that Michael Bay explosion by floating down a fast-flowing river.
He went to the Cuban pipeline.
Yeah, the Cuban pipeline. Hey, Michael, nobody is allowed on Whitewater Rapids without an inner tube, buddy. That's a theme park violation there. He eventually climbs out to a shack in the middle of the woods. Wait, is this Jason Voorhees' shack? Is this the Jason vs. Michael movie everybody always wants? Unfortunately, it's just some old curmudgeon with his parrot. He's not even cool enough to be Crazy Ralph. The guy hears a branch snap outside and goes to investigate. Is he going to be kill number 1? Not yet, as he returns to the shack after finding nothing, only to run into a Tempo magazine stinger as Michael goes old school to choke him, but doesn't have the strength and collapses. Nope, let's not take this guy to the hospital. Instead, the old man tends to him until next Halloween Eve.
Was it a year?
Yes, it's a whole year.
He stays with this hobo.
Yes. Look, I always thought that was a joke that we called it, but the movie actually uses that as the title card, Halloween Eve.
Did they have bum fights in between?
I don't know, maybe. That's a running gag. Listen to our other episodes to find out, especially the Chud episode. Don't watch Chud, just listen to our episode about it.
Yes.
You'll have more entertainment. So on Halloween Eve, it's pouring down rain as we have an establishing shot of the children's clinic in Haddonfield. Inside is Jamie Lloyd, who is hooked up to some seismograph equipment while she is going apeshit. Woolie's gone apeshit while having a nightmare. Is Roger Rabbit going to show up as the doctor to check the readings? When we get to a certain famous slasher, we'll have a little bit to say about Roger Rabbit. Her nightmare is about when she attacked her mom last Halloween. Great, more flashbacks. At least we get some sweet use of the theme, though. She wakes up screaming, except she isn't, because now she's mute from the trauma in the last movie. So it's kind of like Nonnelly's traumatic blindness. Yeah, Fork did another Code Geass reference. A nurse comes in and tries to calm her, asking if she wants her to call her mom. Will I be able to work in a Hitler reference? That's the real question.
Oh my god.
All right, anyways, Beth calls her mom. Wait, her mom? You mean she's not dead? Another retcon? Apparently, she only attacked her. So she isn't inheriting her uncle's starring role now or ever. Just like the ending of Friday the 13th, Part 5. A new beginning. We get a bait and switch with the ending. While this is going on, Michael starts to stir in the shack, revealing a lame tattoo on his wrist. What does it mean? Don't worry, the writers don't know either. Michael was just napping until October 30th? Is that what he does the other 363 days of the year? He waits until Halloween Eve, then he wakes up so he can make his way to Haddonfield? Also, this old guy just kept Michael there for a whole year? WTF? He didn't get this guy any medical attention or anything? Yeah, he's just some old hermit living out in the middle of nowhere and I'll just keep this comatose guy lying here.
I got something real quick, though.
Sure.
Originally, the opening was...
Are we talking about the Dr. Death?
Yeah.
I have that coming up if you want to wait.
Yeah, we'll wait. Okay, you're good.
I'll let you do it when we get there. So Jamie is still psychically linked to her uncle after she touched his finger last movie. Look, don't ask. Just listen to our Halloween 4 episode instead. Although I can't remember if we mentioned it or not then. And isn't that a plot line from Sorority House Massacre? Geez, when Halloween starts ripping off the Halloween ripoffs, you know we're in trouble. She can see, maybe, ? And imitates what Michael does, donning the mask and clenching the fists. She writes on a portable chalkboard that he's coming for her. Finally, we have kill number 1. No good deed goes unrewarded. With death, Michael grabs the old coot from behind and stabs him. Look, they all can't be winners here, people, my kill pun names. I have some alternates. I got curbludgeoned, like a curmudgeon. That's the joke.
Oh, okay.
That's the joke, because he's an old curmudgeon in the woods.
I got you.
Or death curse, referencing Crazy Ralph.
He got bum bashed.
All right.
I don't know.
However, there was an alternate scene filmed for this, the Dr. Death scene, as it's called. So, Perry, go ahead and dive into a little bit of that.
Yeah, so the guy would have been younger, named Dr. Death. And so he brings Michael Myers back to life through the occult. He has runes and other items to perform necromancy. I mean, that's what I have.
Yep. So it's actually on the special features for this, the deleted scene for it. So you could see it with his death scene. It's very weird, occult, bones and skulls hanging up of animals and stuff like that. Kind of like a Texas Chainsaw, where they have all the bones and everything, but not as that excessive. I did watch it. It was very interesting. Definitely a different thorough line. I could see why to be fair, they don't know what's going to happen in the next sequel. So it's a good thing they changed it. Otherwise, it probably wouldn't fit in with the sequel as well.
Yeah.
Back at the children's clinic, the staff rush her to their in-house ER, but before they can perform an unnecessary tracheotomy, unhinged Dr. Loomis rushes in to stop it, and she recovers. So FYI, Doc Loomis is full-on madman in this one. It's definitely the highlight of the film.
That's it. Just him.
The next day, Loomis goes to check on Jamie. What, no title card to tell us what we already know, that it's Halloween? Rachel's back and by her side. Spoiler alert, don't get too attached to Rachel. Remember, just because you survived the previous entry doesn't mean you're making it to the end of the sequel. Which is unfortunate because Rachel was a highlight of Part 4 and a very likable character, and she's also kind of a fan favorite. People really liked her, and they're really bummed that she isn't reprising a starring role in this. Annoyingly, yelling and knocking on the window outside is Rachel's friend Tina, with their dog Max, whom they let in. Unfortunately, obnoxious Tina is going to be with us for a while. She's easily one of the most annoying characters in the franchise. She probably held the top spot for a long time. I'm not sure if anyone has dethroned her. I'd have to rewatch from Resurrection on to see if anyone upstages her. They reveal Jamie's costume to her, a princess outfit. However, Tina just keeps saying ba 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 da ba 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 da bum the whole time. I swear, if she says it one more time, I'm jumping through the TV to smack the sensibility into her. I'll pull some Demons 2 or the Video Dead and the zombies and demons and go through the TV to fucking smack her. Another thing I noticed, why does every other horror movie have a Tina? There's a Tina in Nightmare on Elm Street. There's a few others that have a Tina in it. Not sure if there's one in Friday the 13th. I see it all the time. I'm like, even for minor characters, obviously Tina's the main focus of A Nightmare on Elm Street. She dies early on. Couldn't they come up with something more original like Kirsty? But Loomis crashes the party, and we find out that Rachel is going away for 2 days. Yeah, just like your dad who went out for smokes. She's not coming back either. Apologies if any of your dads actually did go out for a pack of smokes and never come back. Just before the girls and Max leave, a Temple Magazine and Stinger brick flies through the window. There's a note attached to the brick, and some ominous music plays as Loomis unfurls it, revealing the text, "The evil child must die." Then there's some ominous music, and speaking of A Nightmare on Elm Street, it sounds very similar to the Nightmare on Elm Street theme a little bit. I really got vibes there from that. So Loomis escorts Rachel outside, confirming that Jamie just attacked her stepmom, and encourages Rachel to get the hell out of this subpar sequel, saying that Jamie will be fine. Speak for yourself, Loomis. Daniel Harris won't appear in another Halloween again until the name Rob Zombie appears in front of it, unfortunately.
Oh boy.
As Rachel approaches her house, Max starts going apeshit. A lot of woolies gone apeshit in this movie. And barking because Michael Myers is lurking nearby. Of course, she ignores it and heads inside to listen to a kicking No Names 80s jam. I love the generic music, you'd never hear of this band ever again. It's just a one and done for the movie. What band can we find for the cheapest that has an 80s sound that we're looking for? You at the local dive bar, all right, you're in. Barely pay him and then...
Here, we'll put you in the studio real quick.
Right, exactly.
Here's $10. Merry Christmas.
Michael Myers must really want inside to hear that tune as he starts to breathe heavily. Or maybe he's breathing heavy because he's peeping through the window and sees Rachel in her underwear. Do you know how long it has been since Michael Myers has seen some boobs? Listen to our Halloween episode with the terrible audio for my theory. My fan theory there. Also, there is a lyric right before about heading through a window. Very clever movie. I see what you did there. I love when stuff like that lines up. I wonder if it's intentional, if they, did that with the lyrics intentionally, or if it was just mere coincidence. Back at the clinic with Jamie, her psychic link is kicking in as she draws Max's mouth because he's barking at Michael. And she ruined that poster all the other kids at the clinic were working so hard on. Now how are they going to get a better grade than Christopher Lee's lame poster board presentation from The Howling 2? Check out our Howling 2 episode to hear about his poster board werewolf presentation. Back with Rachel, she's in the shower. Move the shower curtain. No, don't pan away so she could cover herself with a towel. Worst cinematography ever there. Boo. Somebody had a no nude contract there. She runs to answer the phone, and Loomis is on the other end and demands that she go check on Max. So she heads downstairs, but Max is gone and the door is open. Bum. Michael's still there, though, and he still wants to see some titties. The only reason she's still alive is because he's waiting for that towel to fall off. We hear Rachel on the other end say, "Ow, what did she hurt herself on?" We never find out. It was just something to make us and Loomis worried about her. He tells her to run out of the house and get help, much to Michael's disappointment. For the record, Dr. Loomis is the reason Rachel is murdered later. He denied Michael his titties. Fact. The cops show up. Oh no, these are two Laurel and Hardy wannabes. They even have their own comedic score to go along with it, like clown music.
Dude, I think that it was really weird, but I read that it was an homage to Wes Craven's The Last House on the Left.
Yeah. Fun fact, the comedy doesn't work too well in that movie either.
But I'm just like, when I heard it, I was like, what the fuck?
You had to see The Last House on the Left.
Yeah.
Speaking of David Hess from The House on the Edge of the Park, he's in that. Yeah, I joke about that. Michael, how quickly can you kill off the comedic relief, please? And it turns out Max is okay as he runs back home. I guess Michael wasn't hungry right now. At the children's clinic, Loomis practically throws Jamie's friend out of the room so he can yell at her like a psychopath to tell him what she knows. Manhandling and screaming at children? God, I love the Madman Loomis so much. He's so great. That said, I don't think he should be around kids anymore, though. Meanwhile, Rachel's changing clothes. All right, there may be time for Michael to see some titties yet. Heck, he's even hiding behind clothes racks in the closet to get a peek. He learned that move from his sister. Is that Freddy's sweater in the closet? Halloween, please. Your worst entries can't hold a kitchen knife to the worst nightmare entry, not counting remakes. And yes, Freddy's Dead is awesome. I will gladly fall on my knife fingers for that take any day. We do get a nice shot of Michael in the background watching from the closet while Rachel's oblivious in the foreground. However, when did Michael lose his fashion sense? Tuck that mask in, Buster. That drives me nuts, that untucked mask the whole time.
I don't like the mask.
It's just, there's just way too much extra plastic hanging out. It just looks weird.
I don't like that mask.
I think all the other times it is trimmed or it's tucked in at least tucking the mask into the collar so you can't see it.
Yeah.
Just gives it a better look. You know, you got to dress professional. You know, tuck in your shirt, button up your buttons, straighten that tie,
Yeah. Just because you were living with,
it's
living
the
with a
still.
bum for a year doesn't mean you can't
exactly.
be.
It's the 80s still, so pop up that collar.
Ever since I can remember, Michael Myers been popping his collar. All right.
She finally puts a shirt on, and that's Michael's cue to exit since the peep show is over. Max is barking again, and something shatters, so Rachel goes to investigate, finding a shattered picture frame of Jamie. Cue the Halloween theme as Michael is hiding behind the door, and we have kill number 2, Tempo Magazine scissored. Michael stabs her with a pair of scissors to go along with the Tempo Magazine stinger. And there's that psychic link again as Jamie is going apeshit. He's gone apeshit in her bed. Remember Bo Starr? He's back and is still sheriff, and Loomis tries to warn him. But he's not too convinced, so Loomis has to give the ol' I speech again to remind him what they're dealing with, even showing off his burnt hand. He ends with this top 10 movie quote contender. I prayed that he would burn in hell. Oh, I gotta get into my Loomis release.
Yeah.
If I can even do it anymore. I prayed that he would burn in hell, but in my heart I knew that hell would not have him. That's some classic Loomis right there.
Yeah, it's good.
My Loomis impression, not that great. I don't think
It was not bad.
Yeah, okay.
So this is Rachel, right?
Yes, Rachel.
So one of the producers, Mustafa Akkad, he said this was one of his biggest regrets was killing Rachel.
Yeah, a lot of fans don't like that she dies early on, because like I said, she was a bit of a fan favorite from the fourth one. Some deputy walks in and tells the sheriff he's needed at the cemetery. And that's our cue to transition to the next scene where Tina heads over to Rachel's, but she is only greeted by spooky music and a still barking Max. She heads inside and upstairs to find some brooding rock music. Quotes there because that's what the subtitles said it was. I put subtitles on so I make sure I hear the characters right for what they're saying sometimes. She gets jump scared by the doorbell ringing, only to find no one is at the front door. Spooky. This is just a setup for another jump scare as her friend Sammy, Tempo Magazine, stingers her from behind. Neither one thinks it's weird that Rachel isn't there. Nope, nothing odd about that. Not in a town where a known serial killer has it out for her stepsister. Michael watches from the window, though, thinking about how he can't wait to see those titties. But he doesn't stick around long enough when Tina turns back to look. They're talking about getting laid, and how the town is in a weird mood today, leading to Tina saying they should ban Halloween in this town. Huh, the dumbest character in this movie just said the smartest thing. Although, to be fair, it didn't work out too well in one of them where they did ban Halloween. It's time to introduce another character as Tina's boyfriend Michael pulls up in his convertible. Wait, his name is Michael? That isn't going to be confusing. Couldn't they have picked a different name like Rod or Freddy? I digress, as this guy looks like a knockoff Travolta from Grease. He does have like this greaser feel. Only more like the punk greaser that wants to knife you, rather than like the cool greaser that just likes working on cars and doo-wop and putting their hair up in the pompadour. They hop in while Jamie's psychic link acts up again at the clinic, just in time for her to spot Michael outside. Michael Myers, not Michael the boyfriend. See, this is already getting way too confusing. Can we hurry up and add this guy to the body count already?
Please do.
Cue the Halloween theme as Jamie starts to freak out and run for it as Michael heads inside after her, eventually running to the basement. I have to say, I like the variation of the theme used in the basement. It's kind of low-key and minimalistic. It's too bad you can't hear it over this noise. Did someone turn the washing machine on or something? Like, there's this loud noise. I don't know if it's just part of the score or it's a basement, so maybe a washing machine running or something that's making noise.
Yeah.
Or a furnace or something.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It would have been very nice if the entire thing was low-key without these loud noises being added in. And like I said, I don't know if it's actually part of the score or just background noise. She runs into a dead end and crawls onto a ledge to hide, but she is quickly found by her pursuer. Oh, thank God. It was only janitor better stashed than Scary Perry.
Hey now.
She's back in the safety of her room, but I spoke too soon as Madman Loomis enters and starts screaming at her and throwing stuff around so she will tell him where Michael is. We get even more confirmation of the stepmother lives retcon here too from Loomis's conversation, mentioning the attack on the stepmother, but not saying that she was killed, just the attack. Loomis dumps some exposition that a coffin of a 9-year-old girl was dug up at the cemetery. Well, at least he stopped digging up Judith Myers' tombstone like in the original. Loomis begs Jamie to help him find Michael, stating, "There's a reason why he has this power over you." Oh, hold on. This is a direct quote. I got Loomis voice it. All right. Stating, "There's a reason why he has this power over you. Did you ever wonder what it is?" Man, I think my Loomis sounds more like Peter Lorre at this point.
It's not that bad.
They'll just probably change it in the next sequel anyways when new writers take over. The nurse tells Loomis to scram, so cut to a bus stopping in front of Vincent's drugstore. I'm glad somebody was paying attention to continuity and kept it as Vincent's drugstore, like in number 4 at least. The bus stops to let off its passengers, one of whom is clad in all black with a trench coat, fedora, and steel-toe boots. We could tell he's bad news by the eerie score. He even kicks a dog. Man in Black will maybe play a role in this movie? Who knows? I don't think the writers know.
I don't think they do either.
Whoa, he's packing some serious heat as he approaches the Myers house. Oh, hold on, I jumped a line. Much like the movie does, let's forget about him for a little while and check in on Loomis. Whoa, he's packing some serious heat as he approaches the Myers house. He'll be able to shoot him more than 6 or 7 times with that pistol. I'm glad we still can't get the Myers house right. Come on, continuity department. You remembered the drugstore from the last movie, but you can't remember what the Myers house looks like. I'll give David Gordon Green that. At least the Myers house looks like the Myers house. They probably had to mock replica it because it's some sort of building now.
Yeah.
I remember it's been like a dentistry and stuff over the years. It's been all sorts of things.
It's kind of fascinating how
it's still there. People like to go get their pictures.
Famous buildings and stuff,
So Loomis goes into the house to look for Myers. Great, another looking for Michael scene around the 30-minute mark. Just like at the gas station from part 4. This script is really phoning it in. I feel like it's only a matter of time before that rebuilt gas station explodes again. Hey now. In our International House of Horror universe continuity. Listen to our Halloween 4 episode to hear about the gas station exploding, and our Halloween 3 episode to hear about the gas station across the street.
It's back up again.
I'm sure it's mentioned in some other things too. I think the main purpose of this scene is to introduce us to Chekhov's laundry chute. I'm sure that won't matter again.
Nope.
However, the man in black is in the house too. Holy shit, he has the same tattoo as Michael. They must use the same shitty tattoo artist.
It's a bum fight.
Yeah.
Logo.
It's like, it's like Fight Club, but instead it's Bum Fight Club. It's the special tattoo to know who's part of the bum fight organizers. But Loomis doesn't run into him, instead just finding a dead rat jump scare for his trouble at the bottom of the laundry chute. Speaking of Michael, he's creeping over at the school again, watching Tina and Sammy when he sees Michael. No, not himself. The boyfriend Michael, across the street, obsessing over his car like Arnie Cunningham. The girls jump scare Michael. No, they didn't get the jump on Albino Kirk, just the boyfriend, using a mask that I'm sure won't come up again later either. Boyfriend Michael and the girls are trying to score some booze for the Tower Farm party later from their friend at the Quick Food Mart. Quite an original name there. All they needed was Michael J. Fox to use his werewolf powers and they could have had all the beer they wanted. Michael threatens him with his life when he touches the car. Wait, this isn't Christine 2 again, is it? So does that make Halloween Ends Christine 3?
It might.
And what's that make the Christine remake that's coming up? Is that going to be a remake of Halloween Ends, the Halloween 5, the original Christine?
It's really a remake of Carrie.
Carrie, okay, there you go. Michael Myers watches as the boyfriend revs that car and drives it behind the Quickie Mart, thinking to himself, someday I'm going to be in a movie where a kid loves me like a car. After finishing loading up the booze, Michael is too busy checking himself out in the rearview mirror to notice Myers approaching the trunk. But he gets his attention when he runs a hand rake across it, ruining the paint job. So knockoff Travolta gets out and tries to take a crowbar to him, but Michael grabs him by the throat, choking him. Man, Michael is back to form on this kill. He took the advice of when you're off your game to go back to the basics. That's another fan theory from the first one. Go back and listen to our episode about it. So this leads to kill number 3, raking your brain. Michael plants the hand rake and a Tempo magazine stinger into the skull of knockoff Travolta before dragging him away. It's a pretty quick kill, so you don't see a whole lot of the impact or blood, but it's okay, you know, there's a lot of slashers that do that. I guess knockoff Travolta didn't live long enough to get that summer lovin', eh? Oh, that was a rim shot.
That was a good one.
Summer lovin', not having a blast. Oh, so I'm really proud of that kill pun. Did you get it, Scary Perry? Or are you still racking your brain trying to figure it out?
Now I get it.
Oh, so plants the rake? Yeah.
I get it.
Ba-doom-ching.
Took me a second there.
I
was thinking about
pun
Dick.
play there.
Oh, wait, I mean, Dick Warlock, of course. What?
Oh, yeah, so... I think I mentioned it later, but yeah, I mean, for having K and B, like a lot of the kill effects, they're like really muted. There's not a whole lot of blood in, this one. I mean, the rake planning looks okay and everything, but even in the deleted and extended scenes, like they only linger on it a moment more, and they probably just cut it to get a proper rating.
Yeah. So
now it's time for the Goblin costume pageant at the kids' clinic. No way, they got Goblin to play at the party? I find that hard to believe. The stuttering pirate kid gives Jamie his medical bracelet. Look, kid, I hate to say it, but you're stuck in the friend zone. It ain't going anywhere, kid. But forget about that. Let's cut to the Man in Black's feet again. This truly must be Tarantino's favorite film in the franchise. He's holding a cigarette. Aha, so he's the cigarette-smoking man. Does this mean Michael Myers is an alien? It would probably be a better conclusion to the plot of the Thorn trilogy than the one we got. Just as he leaves, Corey Cunningham pulls up in the Michael pulls up in the car, honking for Tina. But we know it's not boyfriend Michael at the wheel, but a POV black-gloved killer? Are we reviewing a Giallo now? Nope, it's just Michael Myers in disguise, wearing that ugly mask from earlier.
So I got a fact here.
Sure.
Originally, they wanted them to wear a Ronald Reagan mask. It got rejected because they didn't want to deal with any political stuff.
I understand there. Finally, everything in this franchise has been culminating to this point. Michael is going to get laid. Just pretend to be somebody else's boyfriends. Pull an old Revenge of the Nerds. Just, wear the same costume, Then he could finally stop killing people. To be honest, he set his standards pretty low with annoying Tina. But I guess beggars can't be choosers, right? At least she's hot. Dumb, but hot. Jamie's spidey sense is tingling as she senses Tina is in danger. Or maybe it's because Tina is the clap and Michael's the one in danger. Oh man, some good jokes in this script. Michael is really excited for the... I can't help it. I love the word the clap. It's my favorite nickname for an STD.
I'm going to send you a song about the clap later. It's pretty good.
Reminds me of... I got this autographed hat for free at one of these sports card shows. I was a really young kid, so I went around and had people sign it. One of these people from the show signed it. It was somebody we knew. It wasn't like I was getting random people, but I knew the people that, because we set up at the shows and sold sports cards.
Yeah.
But so it was one of the people I knew. He wrote I think I still have it. He wrote before signing his name, "Don't get the clap." so I love the word the clap because of that. I was too young to know what that meant, but now I have a full appreciation of it. I chuckle about it every time I think about it. Anyways, back to the movie. Michael was really excited for the big moment, gripping that steering wheel tight just thinking about it. And the two speed off while Jamie passes out at the pageant. Not even 2 minutes in, and Michael is already tired of Tina's nagging and stops the car so she can go buy some smokes. Madman Loomis runs to Jamie, not to help her, but to shout at her and ask where Tina is. Then they play a game of 20 questions to figure out that she's at a store with a woman advertising giant cookies. Literally, it's got this woman and it says giant cookies, and covering up her bosoms are 2 pictures of cookies, 2 large cookies. And I'm like, yeah, you can't make advertisements like that anymore.
There's weird humor
people,
in this movie.
Well, that was how advertising was. You
I
could
get
be
it,
funny,
but,
and people would chuckle at that. But nowadays, people would be like, that's sexist. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Don't get your panties in a bunch, people. It's just a funny joke. They should do one with giant hot dogs instead, but have a guy and just where, he's standing there and just have a picture of the hot dog covering up his junk, a big hot dog. Right, Perry?
Yep.
The computer won't play sound bites. That's unfortunate. And that was a perfect time to play Perry. That was not even in the script. I'm like, I'm going to ad-lib this. Oh, well. Hey, Jamie, what about the party time poster in the window? You should have said 45 grave. They would have figured it out faster.
Do you want to party?
Wow, what a perfect time for you to wear that shirt. Can't see it, but Perry's wearing the party time shirt from Return of the Living Dead with the skull on it of the guy that rises from the ground. Skeleton.
The contaminated rain.
Yes.
Not acid rain.
They radio the sheriff that she is at Dale's gas station. Is that the gas station across the street from us? Is that why all those police are over there?
Huh?
Geez, we are a lot closer to Haddonfield since last time. Or is Haddonfield actually Shit City? You have to listen to our New Year's Evil episode to know about Shit City. Before Tina can return to Christine and Michael, the police are on the scene. Michael is cock-blocked again. Oh, so this is like the fastest police time response in history? You cannot get police to respond that fast. I'm glad that Jamie already forgot about Rachel. To be fair, she did say she didn't love her in part 4. Maybe this was really the revenge of Jamie Lloyd? Has she been the real villain all along? Tina tries to talk to Michael before the police take her into custody, but the car is gone. Bum bum bum. So they take Tina to the clinic, and her and Jamie embrace, and Jamie finally talks coherently. The Gios is cured! Woo! 2 Code Geass references. That celebration is short-lived, though, as Tina has to go. You know, we're 47 minutes into this movie, and it feels like nothing has happened. Sure, we have a few kills, some Michael stalking people, but plot-wise, it just feels like nothing is going on or advancing. Perhaps that might be this movie's biggest fault so far. There's like no central... I mean, obviously, yeah, the plot is, we have to stop Michael because he's back, but it's like any other slasher movie, you know, there's no... Not that you need a grandiose plot, but, you know, they usually try and mix it up a little bit. I don't know. Anyways, Tina explains that she has to leave because when you get older, you're going to meet people who make you feel connected. Yeah, like your uncle. Okay, let's save the incest jokes for the next sequel. Really, though, that Grease reject makes you feel connected? Please, tell me more. Tell me more.
Man, you're getting a lot of grease in this.
Oh, yeah, I do.
It's getting greasy around here.
No grease lightning, though. Jamie tries to warn her that she was with the boogeyman, but she's too stupid and horny to understand, so she leaves despite her pleas. Loomis even tries to convince her to stay, perhaps a little bit too closely and creepily. Heck, she even tells him such. Loomis tells her to be sensible, and then we get the best line of this movie. I'm never sensible if I can help it, and she giggles and prances away down the stairs. That line about sums up this movie. It's never sensible if it can help it. Oh, so is she dead yet? Madman Loomis tells officers Laurel and Hardy to tail her, so off they go to the party. Why is the pirate kid looking through the window? Is he dead yet too? He might be more annoying than Bob. Man, that's 2 Bob references in this episode. Grant, one was hotcakes. Uh-oh. Christine starts following them, and the man in black is at the clinic. And Jamie's missing. I love how Loomis manhandles another kid and takes off her mask to check if it's her. Oh, man. She's outside to look for Tina, but runs into a Tempo magazine stinger and the pirate kid, who tells her Tina's at Tower Farm, because he is eavesdropping on them. And at the party, everyone is having a good time. And we even have another cultural appropriation as a guy is dressed as a Native American. Do you think he's related to that guy from Friday the 13th that dressed up as the Native American?
Probably. The parallels.
Outside, officers Laurel and Hardy are still inept as Christine pulls up with Albino Kirk, with one asking the other if it looks like a life-threatening situation, and the other replying, nah. Michael observes the party from the windows. Come on, Michael, crash this party already and up this kill count. The girls run out screaming toward the police cruiser, accompanied by the Halloween chase theme as Michael is giving chase. Geez, it's about time. I guess all I had to do was complain a little. Sammy runs off, but Tina stops and begs to spare her friend because she's a virgin. Look, I don't care if she's a virgin. I only care if she fucks on the first date like Nikki. Man, I'm dropping all sorts of references to our previous episodes. April Fool's Day for that one. The cops run out and draw their revolvers ready to shoot, but it was just a prank. It looks like the angel of Ben Tramer saved another one. Poor Ben Tramer. The cops scold them, saying that they could have been killed, with the one adding, fortunately, we're lousy cops. Okay, that was actually pretty funny because it's true. They even have the clown horn sound effect after it. Oh man, what happened to this franchise? Can everyone in this movie not named Loomis or Jamie die already? Sammy gets distracted by a random stray cat that she found, shows the others, and then takes off into the barn. The others run after, shouting like a bunch of maniacs. And look, some more stray cats inside the barn. It looks like they are ready to rock this town. Man, got another musical reference too. Next, it's time for some hide and seek in a barn as Tina goes looking for one of the kittens. Man, doesn't she know that chasing pussy only leads to trouble in horror movies? Man, I'm gonna break the rim shot here in this moment. Wait, hide and seek, barn? Did Friday the 13th Part 3 already do this? Man, when the original franchise starts ripping off the ripoffs, we know they are scraping the bottom of the barrel for ideas. And right on cue, Michael Myers heard there is pussy in this barn, so he's inside and already breathing heavily. Settle down there, Michael. Tina finds a Tempo Magazine stinger cat jump scare, the ultimate combo, as a kitten is thrown at her from off screen. She looks for her friends, but gets a Tempo Magazine stinger and jump scared again as they throw hay from above at her. 2 Tempo Magazine stingers and jump scares in under 3 minutes? That has to be a record. Tina leaves the bar so her friends could get it on, but first we have more hide and seek. Really padding the runtime, I see. Of course, Michael shows up and has her cornered. She thinks it's just her boyfriend playing a trick on her, but she doesn't say anything as he starts stabbing with another Tempo Magazine stinger. But it was her boyfriend all along. For the love of God, can we stop dicking around and kill one of these characters already? And 3 Tempo Magazine and false scares in under 5 minutes? Somebody call up Guinness. Horniness quickly overcomes her anger, though, and commence the foreplay. That top of hers is getting unlaced. That means Michael is right around the corner with some POV cam. Instead of pitching a tent, her boyfriend gets kill number 4, pitchforked. Michael impales him from behind with a Tempo Magazine stinger and a pitchfork. Yeah, I feel like Jason already did this because he did, and was it part 3 as well? It might have been. 4 Tempo Magazine stingers under 7 minutes? It's a world record. Check the Guinness book, people.
Sting is certified platinum.
Yep. And other than some blood, it's not very gory. And there goes our chances at titties again. Michael grabs a scythe as Sammy screams. Scythe? Grim Reaper? Real subtle movie. Sammy yanks the pitchfork out from her boyfriend's corpse and charges at Michael, but he easily parries the attempt, leading to kill number 5, off-screen harvested. Michael swings the scythe and the camera cuts away to blood spraying on the hay floor. And we may have 5 Tempo Magazine stingers in under 8 minutes. This one's hard to tell since the music was already intense too. His work done, Michael exits the barn and officers Laurel and Hardy scold him for screwing around, so he approaches a cruiser and we have kills number 6 and 7, off-screen to death. The best kind of kill.
Real quick before you go on.
Sure.
The one scene is either Tina or the other girl in there. It was like the weirdest line.
Yeah,
I think
her name's Sammy.
Like they pick up a cat.
I don't remember anybody's names.
They pick up a cat and they're like, "What am I doing? I hate cats."
Yes,
I was
that
just
is
like,
a line from
I was
that.
like,
It was
what?
pretty fun.
I'm
I
like,
didn't note it down, but
I'm just like, what the hell?
trying to keep the script
Gotcha, man.
trim, but that was a funny line. It's time to head back inside to the party as we cut to a random old lady. What is she doing at the party of teenagers? They just broke into this random old lady's house, or is she grandmother or mother of one of the kids? I don't know. Just like that, the party is over as everyone leaves to go skinny dipping. But Tina goes to check on her friends. Can't we go with the skinny dippers instead, please? However, the barn is empty and all she finds is a bloody pussy. A cat, not.
Yeah.
Then she gets jump scared by no one, but 2 Tempo Magazine stingers as the corpses of her friends tumble down from the hay bales onto her. I think the Tempo Magazine stinger count is officially broken for this movie. The rest of the partiers have left, so she runs to the cops to get help, but apparently she didn't hear me say they were off-screen to death a few minutes ago. She sees Michael inside Christine just as Jamie and Pancaker arrive to warn her, but the car starts with a Tempo Magazine stinger, and it's time for a car chase? Michael Myers tries to run people over in a car? Maybe this is the Halloween sequel that is actually Christine 2, and ends as Christine 3, like I said earlier. Man, I really gotta stop preempting my own jokes here. Before Michael can run over Tina while doing 30 miles per hour, because the car ain't going that fast, Jamie offers herself as bait to lure him away, which only half works as he tries to hit Pirate Billy before shifting his focus back to Jamie. If only he could run over this annoying kid. He chases her through a tree patch, mowing down trees indiscriminately. So much for Old Man Peabody's pine farm, right? He continues to drive after her through the woods, which ends in Michael crashing into a tree, causing a Michael Bay explosion. Don't worry, a Tempo Magazine stinger tells us that Michael is okay. Jamie tries to crawl away from him, and again, I like the subtle Halloween score remix here. It's good stuff. Before he can stab her, Tina runs up and grabs him so she can run away, but she gets stabbed in the shoulder as Billy pulls Jamie away to escape. Is she dead? We'll have to wait and see. We never see her stabbed again, and she is still telling her to run and moving slightly on the ground. There is a cool shot with the camera spinning around really quick when she is stabbed, though. As they stumble through the woods, do they run into the leprechaun? Nope, just Dr. Loomis, who has brought the police with him and a Tempo Magazine stinger to go with the false scare, for good measure. As they search the woods, we can definitely confirm kill number 8, Tina is dead. Time to celebrate. To be fair, if I had to choose between being stabbed in the shoulder, nuked, or dragged across the ceiling while being sliced and diced, I'd probably stick with this Tina. Ah, that's the other Tina from Return of the Living Dead. That's right. I knew there was 3 Tinas I was thinking of. I couldn't think of the third one. This movie, Nightmare on Elm Street, and Return of the Living Dead. See, I just had to wait for the jokes to tell me. Loomis takes advantage of the situation to try and convince Jamie to finally help him. She asks if he can kill Michael, and Loomis says he thinks so. See, Jamie, I'm going to take a bunch of rocks and arrange them on the floor. Oh, wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. That's another sequel, and producers are cut ahead of myself here. His plan? Use her as bait, of course. Before leaving, he gives another elaborate philosophical speech to Michael. What essentially boils down to, though, is that he will be waiting for him at his house. We do have some good use of the score here, too, though. Not the regular Halloween theme, but I think the, that subtle piano play theme. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I got you.
I will try to imitate it, because I'll probably not do it justice. Anyways, cut to the Myers house, as Jamie waits upstairs, and the cops guard the place. Hey, I know that cop guarding Jamie. It's veteran character actor Troy Evans. I've seen him in a bunch of films. I'm sure you probably recognize him. He's only in this movie for like a little bit. He tells her she's one brave little girl. That look on her face says otherwise. Oh, wait, that's just the psychic link kicking in. What's that, Lassie? Jamie? Billy's in trouble? Good, nobody gives a fuck about that little bastard. Let alone 2 fucks, so I hope he dies next. Although I don't know if he actually dies. I don't know if it's up here in my notes later. But he just kind of disappears for the rest of the movie, if I remember correctly. There are some people that are killed later on at that clinic, as they find bodies, but who knows if he was one of them. Hey, there's that tattoo again on the wall by Loomis again. I wonder if that's ever going to be important. Or are we going to have to wait for another sequel to half-ass explain it? Loomis radios it in that Michael must be at the clinic, so most of the police leave for the clinic to find Michael. Little Dark Knight Returns? Which one was that? Dark Knight Rises? Which was the third one in that trilogy?
Dark Knight Rises.
Was it Dark Knight Rises?
Yeah.
A little reference there. So they all just leave over an unverified report suspicion? Seems like a smart decision to me. What can go wrong? Before returning to the house, Loomis utters to the darkness, "Now you'll come, won't you, Michael?" When has an army of police ever deterred Michael before? Right?
Yeah.
Officer Troy prepares to take Jamie to the police station, but Loomis enters the room and locks the door. He's sticking with the plan. His partner radios in from the cruiser outside that another one of their cruisers is approaching. Judging by the creepy music, it's not the police, but Michael coming to deliver kill number 9, Whiplash. He rear-ends the officer's vehicle, stunning him long enough for Michael to punch through the window and smash his face into the steering wheel repeatedly. Not a bad kill, as you hear most of it over the walkie-talkie, allowing your imagination to fill in the rest. I don't mind cutaway kills that are cleverly done like that. Troy is going to radio for the sheriff, but Loomis grabs the walkie-talkie and smashes it against the wall. I never thought I would say this, but Loomis has gone apeshit. Whoa, he's gone apeshit. Although I think I've said that he's gone apeshit a million times in this already. Wait, is this movie ripping off Jaws when Quint smashes the radio? Maybe this one should have been subtitled The Rip-Offs of Michael Myers. Well, they're stuck with Michael now, so Loomis heads downstairs while Michael is up to his old tricks, hiding in darkness by door frames and sneaking up on people. Loomis isn't fooled though and turns around to confront Michael. By reasoning with him? What the hell, Loomis? Use that hand cannon and start blasting holes in him. We don't know yet, but he's actually trying to lure him to Admiral Akbar. He spouts some claptrap about Jamie can take his rage away. Based on the next entry, I don't want to know how that works.
Jesus.
Don't get too far ahead of ourselves here. It seems to be working until he tries to take the knife away from him, which causes Michael to go apeshit. Well, he's gone apeshit. If we had that soundbite, it'd be broken by now.
Yes.
Slashing Loomis across the chest before giving him a Tempo magazine stinger by smashing him into the window for good measure, before tossing him aside and heading upstairs. Also, where is the light coming from outside? It looks like it's daylight out, but it's supposed to be night. It works well for the shot and gives some lighting, but it doesn't make sense continuity-wise. Speaking of upstairs, Troy busts out the window and grabs some ropes so Jane can't escape. Michael starts to bust down the door with a Tempo magazine stinger, and Troy unloads his revolver on him. By my count, he shot him 10 times. From a revolver. That's better than Loomis's 7. Grant, they may have been cutting back and forth, so some of the sound effects might have been technically the same shot. You know what? No, they just fucked up. Like the rest of this movie, they just fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
But all it takes is another Tempo magazine stinger for Michael to spring back to life, crash through the remains of the door, and start stabbing or punching Troy? It's hard to tell. Jamie uses this time to escape from the Halloween theme, running downstairs. Meanwhile, Troy becomes kill number 10, hanging around. Michael wraps the rope ladder around his neck and tosses him out the window. Poor Troy. I'm sure we'll be seeing you again in the future in some other small character role. At the clinic, they take out a corpse on a stretcher. Wait, so Michael actually did stop there first? Now, I can't tell if this is a previous corpse from an earlier victim, although it kind of looks like the clinic's asshole director, which we didn't get too much into, but he was kind of a dick to Loomis and doesn't believe Loomis's theories. So we'll just call it kill number 11, the return of off-screen to death. And then wheel out another corpse, so kill number 12, the revenge of off-screen to death. I'm clever sometimes. Hey, remember Chekhov's line to shoot from earlier? Well, Jamie tries to hide from Michael outside, but this isn't his first rodeo, so he finds her instantly. Oh, so come on, Jamie, that psychic link works both ways. She tries to hang from the edge to evade him, but he scares her with a Tempo magazine stinger, and she lets go and falls to the basement landing. Take 1 die of physical damage. Michael heads to the basement and tries to open the laundry chute. Michael, buddy, you have to open the latch first. Oh, okay, just use your knife. That works too, I guess. He rips the cover clean off and tries to reach for Jamie, who is shimmying back up for dear life. He starts to put speed holes into the chute with the knife to stab her, but that just gives her a leg up to the top of the chute. On the plus side, that's the fastest laundry chute in Haddonfield now. Love my Simpsons references. Remember how the entire incompetent police force was at the clinic? Well, they're on their way back. Will they make it in time to rescue Jamie? Who cares? She isn't making out of the next sequel anyways. Kill her off and spare her the suffering already. She follows the score to the attic, where she finds that missing kid's coffin from earlier.
I got something right here.
Oh, go ahead.
Back in Chekhov's shoot, she was originally shown being stabbed in the leg in the shoot, but they had to cut it because of the MPAA.
Yes. Yeah, that's part of the deleted scenes. It's not much. It's not that bloody. Yeah, some of the gore cut out.
Seemed like it cut a lot of stuff out of this.
I've seen the deleted and extended footage. It's not, even adding in the extended stuff, it's just like some extra blood's thrown on some corpses. It lingers on the corpses a bit longer for like the pitchfork, the hand rake. It's really very tame. Like that stuff could have easily been in there. But this was when they started cracking down on a lot of horror films at the time. She also finds Max's corpse. We don't count animal kills here for kill count, but I guess Michael was hungry after all. The corpse of the other Michael, no, not Myers, the dead boyfriend, and Rachel's corpse. You know, the character we completely forgot and wasn't plot relevant until now. And 3 Tempo magazine stingers to boot. This easily has to be the record for most Tempo magazine stingers in a Halloween entry. To be fair, I haven't officially counted any of them, but just seems like there's a lot in this one. She climbs into the coffin and Michael approaches, preparing to penetrate her with his knife. Come on, people. You have to wait for that one. For the other. Oh, no rim shot there. Ugh. When she calls out to him, Uncle! Look, kid, you know the Weinsteins are producing the next one, right? I don't think the family relationship can stop what is going to happen in the future. Trust me, you're better off dead. He hesitates, lowering the knife, and she even convinces him to remove the mask to show his face to her. We even have a touching moment as Michael sheds a single tear, like that crying Indian over the garbage from that commercial back in the day. But when she goes to wipe the tear from his cheek, she's interrupted by a Tempo magazine stinger as Michael goes apeshit again. Oh, he's gone apeshit. Redonning his mask and trying to stab her, but she flees downstairs. Hey, Loomis is okay. Or is he? Because he's going apeshit again too, taunting Michael by holding Jamie as bait, luring him into a trap. I love Unhinged Loomis. He's the main reason to watch this film. Loomis pulls a rope, releasing a giant chain net onto him. And then Loomis starts shooting him full of tranquilizer darts. My guess is filled with Thorazine, because that's a Halloween regular. I recently just heard them use it in another 80s horror movie, so I mean, it's probably the go-to sedative of choice at that time. Might still be, I don't know. But that isn't enough to stop Michael as he yanks the rifle out of Loomis's hands. So Loomis goes hacksaw Jim Duggan on him, grabbing a 2x4 and beating Michael repeatedly with it while shouting, Die! 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 Michael finally collapses, then Loomis has a stroke? Heart attack? Exhaustion? I'm not sure. Either way, he collapses on top of Michael, staring into those blackest eyes. You would think the state police would have shown up by now. Wait, that was last movie, I'm sorry. I couldn't tell the difference because they kind of have similar plots. The regular police do show up and take Michael to a cell at the station for holding until the National Guard comes and takes him to prison until the day he dies. Jamie despondently replies, He'll never die. Hey, not as long as there is money to be made. Still, it's a great line though. But what's this? The cigarette-smoking man in black is there with his briefcase? He approaches the rear entrance of the police station while an officer escorts Jamie outside. They hear a Michael Bay explosion come from inside, then we see the man in black go slow motion as he starts shooting up the place. The officer tells Jamie to wait there as he heads inside to die too. Little kids always do the exact opposite of movies, so you know she is going inside. The gunfire ceases as she approaches. Inside we see several corpses of officers strewn about. There's too many for me to attempt to count. Plus who knows how many more are off-screen. Plus Myers probably didn't do any of these killings, so I'm not counting them. I only count the killer doing the killings. Mm-hmm. She reaches Michael's cell where the door has been blown open. And looking at it, it exploded outward. How would it explode outward? It should have exploded inward if you're blowing open the door.
Yeah.
She continues to follow the trail of destruction to the back barred exit, which has also been blown open, and the score gently plays as Jamie cries, No! Before we roll credits. And for the credits, I have one of the officers is credited as Fat Sniper. Like, that's way to be straightforward. And George Wilbur returns, briefly, from the previous scenes, but Don Shanks plays him in this one. Although, I think, Don Shanks is Michael Myers in this one.
Yeah, and he's also the man in black.
Yes. And then one last credit note says, wait, the boom operator is Mike Perry? Like our Patreon supporter, Mike Perry?
Maybe.
And before we take our last bite, you got any fun facts for us, Perry?
Yeah, I got some different stuff here. I just want to ask you real quick. In a lot of movies, I don't believe they show his face that much. Michael Myers' face.
No. He's briefly shown in the first one.
Like in the beginning of this and with the hermit, you can see his face pretty clearly, I thought. And I thought it should be more really darkened or blurred, you know what I mean? That's just a thought I had.
No, his face is wrapped.
Okay.
It's actually wrapped up, I think, when he kills that guy.
All right, so the first screenplay for this movie that they wrote featured an older Jamie going on a killing spree of her own.
Yes, because it was continuing from the ending of the second one, or the ending of part 4 where she stabbed her mother.
With Michael Myers trying to kill her because she was interfering with his killing spree. Somebody brought up an interesting parallel I read between the character Jamie Lloyd and Tommy Jarvis. They both appear in the 4th, 5th, and 6th films of their series. Mm-hmm. They both become institutionalized, and they develop homicidal tendencies of the killer. Both are kind of mute in their 6th film. So somebody noticed that.
6th film?
Yeah, I know. That didn't make sense. Right. Yeah.
No.
Because when I was reading, I know the character, she's not muted, I don't think. Is she mute in the next one?
No. Well, she's barely in it. She speaks, but she doesn't have a lot of lines.
It should be the 5th film. I don't know.
Yeah, it should be the 5th film.
Stupid IMDb.
She's mute in this one.
It's IMDb's fault.
Tommy Jarvis is mute in the 5th. Well, he just doesn't talk a lot.
Yeah. I don't know.
Because Tom Matthews?
I should just give that a minus.
Yeah, because Tom Matthews plays
him in their 6th film?
6, and he talks a lot. It should be the 5th film. The person who wrote the fact probably just wrote down the wrong number.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's this film, the 5th film, and in the 5th film, it's the 5th film.
Yeah, it's just
not the 6th. That's okay. That was me writing a mistake. Sorry. The original ending was after Jamie finds that Michael Myers has escaped from the police station. She is approached by the man in black. What did you have on your body count?
Well, officially 12, not counting everybody getting shot up at the police station. I don't know if Billy technically died or he could have been one of those corpses that was from the clinic anyways.
It doesn't list who died on their body count that I usually get it from. It said 15 excluding the animals, so I don't know.
I don't know where they got 15 from.
Yeah.
Like I said, unless Billy's technically dead, but I don't think so. Unless they're saying Loomis died, but he clearly doesn't.
Yeah, I don't know. This movie had a $5.5 million budget. It grossed $11.64 million, or it is the lowest grossing film ever in the Halloween franchise. So on Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 12% critic score, 36% audience score, and on IMDb, 4.9 out of 10. That's what I got for you, man.
So with that, it's time to take the last bite. Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, is a noticeable decline in the quality of the franchise, which is disappointing considering the potential it possessed. Unfortunately, that potential is wasted, as the script just seems to be a rehash of the previous entry with a few new ideas added. Sure, Donald Pleasance gives a great performance as always, hamming it up as Loomis becomes completely unhinged in his efforts to stop Michael, and Daniel Harris is still one of the more enjoyable child actors to watch. But the rest of the cast feels wasted, or worse, annoying. Rachel isn't alive long enough to have a meaningful impact, and Beau Starr doesn't really have much screen time compared to Part 4. Then we have our new assortment of, quote, teenage victims to be slaughtered, and frankly, I cannot wait for them all to die. Tina is still one of the most annoying characters in the Halloween franchise, even if she does deliver one hilarious line that sums up the trajectory of the franchise's future entries quite nicely. While I like what they did with the Halloween theme, I still find the overall score lacking and could have been sprinkled in a little more for effect. Also, for a film with K&B effects working for it, the gore is very lacking and a waste of their talents. If you tease me with K&B effects in the opening credits, I'm going to want amazing effects and kills, but this just leaves me wanting more. The deleted scenes show a little more, like extended footage of the pitchfork and hand rake scenes, and one of Jamie being stabbed in the leg while in the lodge shoot, as Scary Perry mentioned. But even with those, it still would have been very light on gore. Granted, you don't need gore for a great horror movie, as the original Halloween showed us, but that would require the film to have great suspense or atmosphere like the original. However, there is very little of either in Halloween 5. Finally, while I like the ending and have fond memories of it from my childhood, the payoff is not worth the setup, and like so many other things in this movie, it feels wasted. But hey, that's more of a knock on the next entry, which we'll have more to say next time we return to the Halloween franchise. Overall, while I don't hate this one as much as others do, it is a weak entry that just seems to be trying to check all the boxes of what goes into a Halloween film and goes through the motions. Because of this, it's just okay. It's certainly more of a guilty pleasure film that I still like to revisit, mainly for Donald Pleasance's Madman Loomis. Who could say no to Dr. Loomis beating Michael Myers with a 2x4? Still, this is where the franchise starts to slide down that slippery slope before future sequels crash into the ravine below with all the other dregs of cinema. But that is a tale for a future Halloween, even though this is not coming out anywhere near Halloween. So my overall rating for it is 3 pancakes. Like I said, it's just okay. I like parts of it, but it's very familiar, going through the motions, checking the boxes like I said. Still, I enjoy the performances of Loomis, and there's some fun moments to it. Now, Scary Perry, go ahead and take your last bite.
So I just thought this movie, to me, it felt rushed and watered down. And it just seemed like the same movie before.
Right, like I said.
And then it just, obviously, Donald Pleasance is a great actor, and he did a good job being Psycho Loomis. Like you said, you don't need the gore for it to be good. If you can do it, you can capitalize on correctly like they did on the first one, but they did not. It's weird with this man in black, this tattoos, and they don't do anything about it.
It's a mystery, and
it's a weird
don't
mystery,
answer any of it.
And it's a little bit of a cliffhanger at the end. I don't.
It's sequel bait, man.
I guess it is. But like, if I was watching it in theaters, I don't know, man. I don't know if at that time I was in theaters and I saw that and that happened at the end, I'd be on the edge of my seat, like, who the heck is this guy?
I got you.
But obviously, score's great. I mean, when they do it right.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think this is probably the worst Halloween movie next to Halloween Ends.
Yeah, this one gets held up as one of the worst entries in the franchise, and I don't think it's as bad as some of the other ones. The big debate always, people are like, oh, I liked Halloween 6 better than Halloween 5, and we'll get to Halloween 6 when we talk about it, but I think this one's okay. I have stuff against it, but there's still some entertainment out of it. Like, I don't hate watching it. Like, if it's on TV, I'm not changing the channel. I'm like, all right, I'll watch Halloween 5, you know.
I can see that, but I don't know. I'm not going to purposely
we still have Halloween Resurrections to get to.
Yeah.
The Rob Zombie. I mean, depending on how you count remakes into franchises, we still have the Rob Zombie Halloweens to get to.
Yeah.
Although some people like those, some people hate them. It's funny because there's people who like Rob Zombie's 1, but they hate Rob Zombie's 2, and there's people who like Rob Zombie's 2 is better than the first one.
Like, coming into this podcast, you know I hadn't seen a lot. You know I've only seen 3, and then I did pretty much binge them all over time. Mm-hmm. But after just watching this again, and watching some others, right? Not these next ones that are coming up, but the newer ones, right? Mm-hmm. Halloween Ends is just god awful. You know, this movie's, it's like nothing happens, and it's like you're just spinning your wheels. Okay, you introduce a potential.
Yeah, the plot is bare bones, yes.
With that said, and there's another thing here. This doesn't lower my score or anything. I forgot this as a fact. On the cover art, poster art for this movie, they show Jamie with her in her clown costume, but she never wears it in this movie.
Yes,
she just wears a princess dress or whatever.
Aware.
It's not going to take away from it. I just wanted to include that. Final thought, though, I just think this movie's real lackluster and watered down, and I'm giving it two cannolis. Yeah, I don't recommend it.
Yeah, I don't think it's that bad. It's just okay.
Yeah.
It's run-of-the-mill. It's very formulaic. I mean, I have issues with it that keeps it from being better, but I still get some entertainment out of it. It's worth watching for Loomis.
I get that. I respect that, but
I mean, if there was no Loomis, it'd be going down farther, like a 2.5 or something.
Yeah.
I still think it's entertaining enough with Loomis and everything to make it worth watching. Like, if I'm doing a Halloween marathon, I'm definitely not. I probably wouldn't skip it.
I can see that. You could be watching a lot of movies.
But, well, yes. But not counting the Rob Zombie remakes, and not counting the new David Gordon Green trilogy, because that's tough to tie in. I know it ties back to the original, but if you just go up to Resurrection, I think there's no debates that Resurrection's one of the worst Halloween out of that bunch.
And that could change again when I watch it.
Yeah, we still have to review it.
But for now,
it's been forever since I've sat down and watched that movie start to finish in a non-TV censored way, you know.
Okay, let's just put it for all the Halloweens that we have reviewed so far, then.
Oh yeah,
this is the worst
got
one.
My lowest score out of
it. Yeah. But I'm just harkening back.
What'd you give Halloween 2?
I gave it a 2, but that's definitely gone up over time.
Okay.
It probably would move up to a 3. Or a 3.
You don't have to regrade it now, but
yeah, it would probably move up to a 3 because that movie at the time, I don't know, it just changed. After seeing other stuff, it makes that movie, like, if you compare this movie to that movie, holy crap, watch that movie all the time. Don't ever watch this movie, and don't you dare ever watch Halloween Ends.
Yeah.
Or Christine 2.
I'd had to watch Resurrection to see what one I like less.
Yeah. I mean, if you're watching a marathon, watch it. But I don't think it's worth a rewatch. That's about. Watch it once, and then you decide. That's where I stand, my friend.
Well, that's Halloween 5. Just okay. So 3 pancakes. That's kind of where okay movies are. So
fair enough.
I'd probably rate some other 3s over it to watch. Like, I'd rather watch Leprechaun and stuff like that. New Year's Evil, I would probably like a little bit better. I will have to say, reevaluate Train to Busan, because I know I gave it a 3 just because I'm like, I know all these Train to Busan lovers will hate on me if I rag on it. But no, I'm taking it down to 2.5. It's just above the Chud line.
All right, let's not just go change all our scores.
Halloween 5 better than Train to Busan. Fight me. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, that's
but I did.
You can stand on that.
I did seriously take Train to Busan down to 2.5. So, alrighty.
You can leave a voicemail on that, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep. So with that, let's run through the plugs again. So as I said earlier, you could support us on Patreon if you're able to. We got 3 different tiers, so all of them give you access to some polls. Looking to add some more stuff for the higher tiers too, some exclusives, give you some incentive to stick around in the higher tiers, like maybe some exclusive polls for the higher tiers or something, stuff like that. Get in at $2, gets you access to that, helps support the podcast, makes our low budget podcast not so low budget, plus helps cover all these movies I buy. $5 tier, you can choose an introduction spoiler that we open our podcast with, so only caveat to that is not a movie we've already spoiled. 1 spoiler per movie. At the $10 tier, you get to pick a movie for us to review, which more on that in a bit. You can check us out on social media. I'm the Matt Pancaker, pretty much on everything. X, Facebook, Instagram. Perry is at Scary Perry.
No, it's at
Perry Scary on Facebook.
On Facebook. Scary Perry will link you to somebody that isn't me, or a store in Illinois.
Right. Feel free to check out the website, themattpancaker.com, which hosts all of our podcast episodes, plus the short stack blog post reviews I do. Like I said, you can leave us a voicemail there, so feel free to do that. Ask us hard-based questions or any other questions you might have, or, just check in to say hi. And like I said, I have those codes to give away if, somebody wants some.
Codes.
But
a potential 8-movie swing. Sorry.
Just make sure if you do leave a voicemail, I don't know if there's a way to leave contact information outside of the recording, but towards the end or the beginning, just give me a way to contact you through email so I can send you the code. I will cut it out of the episode so nobody gets your email and starts emailing you weird stuff. Don't worry about that. So yeah, you could do that at themattpancaker.com and somehow through Spotify. I don't know if you can do it through the app or if you have to go online to Spotify and do it that way. Not sure because it's going through some changings. I got an email about it. Spotify for Podcasters is merging with Spotify, so it's just all done through Spotify now as opposed to having 2 different sites. Because it was Anchor, then became Spotify for Podcasters, and now they're just merging it so you log in with your Spotify account to do all the podcast stuff. And speaking of the Patreon choosing a movie, so our next film we're going to be reviewing was chosen by our patron, Michael Perry. Shout out to Michael Perry. Thanks for all your assistance. Shout out to our other patrons, AJ and J Bones. So thanks for their support as well. So join us next time as we review a zombie film that is a cut above the rest. Until next time, check please.
Delores!
The International House of Horror.